clutch performances by their defense, offense, and special teams keyed another heart-stopping victory for Lafayette in a big 14-13 win over Bucknell. This afternoon, the Leopards will look to stay atop the Patriot League as they travel to Fordham. The Rams are looking to rebound from a tough overtime homecoming loss to Brown. It's a key Patriot League contest. Fordham, Lafayette, on the Lafayette Sports Network. Field in the Bronx, New York, the Lafayette Sports Network, in cooperation with RCN4 Sports, WBPH Channel 60, and the Empire Sports Network, presents Lafayette College football. This afternoon's ball game features the Fordham Rams as they come in with a 4-2 record. They are 1-0 in the Patriot League under first-year head coach Ed Foley. They'll take on the Lafayette Leopards at 5-2. They sit atop the Patriot League at 2-0 under their head coach Frank Tavani. Hello, everybody. I'm Gary Laubach, along with John Leone, Paul Plattberg, and Brian Ludroff. We'll be up top with us. Dan Mowdy will be down on the field as we welcome you once again to an overcast day. And I imagine it's overcast in the Bronx for a lot of reasons, John.
Yeah, it probably is. We were anticipating some traffic problems, Gary, that never materialized. Obviously, the World Series starts tonight up in Boston, much to the dismay of the folks here in New York City. But some action here at Jack Coffey Stadium nonetheless.
Certainly. Bookends losses here surround Fordham as they had 4 wins in a row after an opening game loss. They lost last week to Brown. Very tough losses, won by a point, won in overtime. But this is a Fordham ball club, even though Ed Foley's in his first year. They look like Fordham of old. They've got good pass receivers, a good defense, and they're solid across the board.
They sure are. Defensively, Joe Tricario, a name that some Lafayette Leopard fans will remember. He's their defensive coordinator, Gary, and he's got them playing well. The defense seems to be the staple. They've got 2 tall wideouts that Frank Tavani's defense will have to contend with.
Speaking of playing well, Lafayette off to their best start since 1988 when they went 6-1. They're looking to go 6-2 today. They are looking to go 3-0 in the Patriot League and go into a bye week and get ready for the Raiders of Colgate. First up, however, the Rams of Fordham will have the keys to this afternoon's ball game right after this timeout. We are back. We welcome you back. It's time for the keys to the game, presented by Keystone National Bank and Trust, always working hard for you. Let's take a look at the keys on the Fordham side. And John, it has been a good bye for Fordham as they were off last week.
They sure were, and they've had 2 weeks to get healthy and prepare for the Leopards. Gary, sometimes that's a sword that cuts both ways. Lafayette riding an emotional high after a great win last week at Bucknell.
Lafayette's offense might have trouble. They're not a tad in the air or a gain with Gaines.
Well, the defense is key. Cornerback Tad Cornegay has 7 INTs. He's one of the leaders of the defense. And outside linebacker Quentin Gaines has 66 tackles, 2 sacks, and 2 fumble recoveries.
And of course, they may need a baker's dozen out of Derrick Daniels, at least 1 touchdown pass.
Well, he's already thrown 12 TD passes, and more significantly to 8 different receivers. Steve Porco has 4 of those TD receptions. He's a key returnee from last year.
We move to the Lafayette side of the ledger. Lafayette needs to continue to McCourt the record books.
Well, we hope he'll be holding McCourt again today. All-time leading rusher, all-time leading scorer, all-time leading touchdown maker, 2nd all-time leading rusher, and Gary, 441 yards in the last 3 games alone.
And in last week's ball game against Bucknell, give him the football. He sets the scoring record at Lafayette College. Joe McCourt with 260 points. The Lafayette Leopards, John, we have said it all year long. They are steady. They're not flashy.
You're exactly right, Gary. And like their standout running back, the defense bends, they don't break. On offense, they've not had an INT in the last 2 games. Gary, only 3 fumbles lost all season. Let me add one more to that. they are one of the least penalized teams in all of 1AA.
The Cardiac kids find a way. John, they've made it a little tough on us for a few weeks, but it's been fun.
Well, yeah, tough. The first one, folks will remember the incredible finish at Richmond. Here's a great defensive stand late in the game from the 1 to give the offense the ball back. Here's that scintillating last play people are still talking about. It took about 20 minutes to sort it out. In the end, Lafayette came out victorious. And then last week, here's the block, and at this point, we in the booth were all celebrating. Thank goodness, number 19, Torian Johnson was paying attention. This is a live ball on Fordham, on Bucknell's side of the football field, and Bucknell nearly turned it in to a win.
Who's that happy guy?
Is
Dance Fever.
Tavani's version of the river dance.
We're going to dance our way right down to the sidelines. Dan Mowdy is with us today, and he is ready with his first report. Here's Dan.
All right, Gary, new look for the Fordham Rams under head coach Ed Foley. When I talked to him, he said, I'm looking for intensity. He says, we've got to play an entire contest against this Lafayette team that doesn't hurt itself with a lot of penalties and a lot of other mistakes. So that's what he's looking for today against Lafayette. Meanwhile, Frank Tavani notes that Fordham is a solid team. He says their defense is the core of that base, but also that the offense seems to be improving steadily each and every game. He said, watch for Fordham's passing game. They've got some skyscrapers catching the ball, and there's going to be a lot of balls thrown up, 50-50 balls, and they're going to count on their tall guys jumping up and grabbing them out of the sky. Also, defensively, Lafayette has an advantage with Trey Martell back in action. He'll be playing strong safety as a reserve, and of course, he'll be relying heavily on Brian Kazmarowski, who is back at 100%. Now back to you.
Dan's at 100% too. We can tell. There are the guys in black and white today. The referee is Mike Sechrist. The umpire is Mark Pellis. The head linesman is John Miley. The line judge Paul White. The field judge is Alan Russell. The side judge is Rollins Janitas. The back judge is Jim Reagan. Clock operator is Steve Neithart. And the delay of game clock operator is Phil L'Hospitalier. John, we would be remiss if we did not send out condolences and our sympathies to the family of Anthony Tony Giglio, who graduated from Lafayette in '74, the first player in 91 years to rush for 1,000 yards. He held Lafayette's career rushing record from '74 to '86. In 1982, Tony was inducted into the Lafayette's Hall of Fame. And more important than all of that, John, he was just a wonderful, wonderful individual and a great Lafayette supporter.
A world-class person, Gary. Those of you close to the Lafayette community know that Tony, over the last couple of years, has fought a courageous battle with cancer. I saw him this past reunion. He was always upbeat, always in great spirits. You love the guy, and our deepest sympathies go out to Kelly, his wife, and his 2 children, Tony and Annie, as well as the entire Giglio family. He will be missed.
It will be the Fordham Rams who will kick the ball off to Lafayette. They won the toss. They elected to defer their choice. And kicking off for them will be 14, Anthony DeFino. Or check it, nope. It's going to be number 48, I believe. And that will be Benjamin Dado as you get a look at the first-year head coach, Ed Foley. For Fordham, Ed, an assistant coach under Dave Clausen. Of course, we saw Dave Clausen this year. He is the head coach of the Richmond Spiders. So we are ready. The kickoff is high. It is not deep. A fair catch is called for by Lafayette at the 30-yard line. That's not bad field position at all, as the fair catch called for by Anthony Jones. And Lafayette will have it 1st and 10 on their own 30-yard line.
Interesting strategy by Ed Foley there. He went to pooch it, and wisely. A good special teams play by the Lafayette return team as they opted for the fair catch. Lafayette begins from their 30, Gary.
John Larry Johnson is averaging over 23 yards per return, so I'm sure that is what entered into Ed Foley's mind when he started the ball game the way he did. And John, we got Jonathan Hurt in there with Joe McCord at fullback. So Hurt will start at tailback. Back to throw the ball is Brad Maurer. He's going to loft one for Joe McCourt, and he's going to overthrow Joe. He had a couple of steps on the Fordham defender, Tommy Stevens, and the pass goes incomplete.
Yeah, interesting start to the game as we take a look at Brendan Green listed as the fullback. That obviously is not the case. The tailback, Joe McCourt, that's Jonathan Hurt. So don't believe what you see there. Justin Maurer at wide out along with Brandon Stanford. The tight end is Chad Walker. So Frank Tavani pulls a little trickeration out of his head here in the first series. They almost pulled off a big play.
Maurer now 57 for 85, 6 interceptions, 618 yards, 4 touchdowns, 68%. They give the ball off to McCourt, and Joey's going to get a couple of yards before he is gang tackled by a whole bunch of Rams. It looks like it was led by Jay Edwards, number 93, and the Quentin Gaines, who will call all day long. John?
St. Germain and Ungrady are the tackles, Lawandos and Bono the guards, and Robert Strobel of the center. Tip of the cap to these guys, Gary. They have been doing yeoman's work all year long.
So McCourt back to his very familiar tailback position. Lafayette immediately looks at a 3rd and long on a 3rd and 8, and it looks like the Rams are coming in the person of Tyrone Thorne. He does not come, he backs up, and they're just going to get back to the original line of scrimmage. So a very good defensive effort. Edward Gordon is there to make the tackle along with Patrick Ora, and Lafayette ends up getting only a yard in that whole exchange, as there's going to be a loss on the play of 2, and in fact they're back to 0.
Yeah, here's the guys that made that happen. The Fordham defensive line, Jay Edwards and Ed Gordon up front, along with Ali Jones. And Gary, they did a great job. Now Lafayette kind of put itself in the hole. They rolled the dice on down number 1. That created 2nd and 3rd and long, and Fordham took advantage.
Perdocco is back to get the punt of Mike Davis. He collects it right at the 30-yard line. And here comes a penalty flag, and that's normally against the return team. The punt, not a bad one at all, 40 yards. Larry Johnson on the tackle. And John, I'm pretty much assured that this is going to be a penalty against the Rams. It looks like blocking from behind, illegal block in the back.
We'll listen to it. It's a spot foul. It took place at about the 39-yard line, Gary, so it is going to negate a big return.
Just going to be a hold, John, and we'll see whether or not we have a chance to take a look at it, as we believe Wes Erb. Let's listen first.
On the return, holding on the return team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, first down.
So that will be a 10-yard penalty. The spot, as John pointed out, was from the 39-yard line. So they'll start their drive from the 29, and they'll have it 1st and 10. At quarterback, Derrick Daniels, 76 for 148. 5 interceptions, 895 yards passing, and a dozen touchdowns. Comes in with a quarterback rating of 122.1. He has completed 51% of his passes. But they go to a quick handoff as they give the ball to Jamal Hunt. And Hunt, at best, gets a yard, maybe 2. Andrew Brown in on the tackle. They're going to say a gain of 2, and it's 2nd and 8.
The tailback is Jamal Hunt. He's led through the hole by Tristan Martin. The flanker is Steve Porco, key returning player from last year. Rashawn Haynes is a split end, and the tight end is James Caffarello.
Give it to Hunt again. He comes in with 523 yards rushing, 4.1 yards per carry, and 5 touchdowns. He's caught 14 passes for 110 yards. John?
Yeah, some of my buddies out here. The left tackle is Mike Zabatini. Batiglieri is the left guard. Amatuzo is the center. Strali, how'd he get in there? He's the right guard. And Sean Witherspoon is the tackle.
That was Weatherford.
I'm sorry, Weatherford.
Witherspoon plays for the other team.
That's exactly right. Those some of those offensive linemen look like they graduated from the University of Calabria. I like those guys.
3rd and 2. John likes anybody with a vowel on the end of their name. The handoff goes to Hunt. Hunt's going to get a 1st down as he'll get over the 40, up to about the 41-yard line. Maurice Bennett is there to make the tackle. That's a gain of 4 and the initial 1st down of the football game.
Yeah, the Lafayette defensive front, Gary, all year been doing a great job. Andrew Brown, Chris Brungo, Dan Laceno, and of course Marvin Snipes. They rotate some other folks in there, but make no mistake about it, a much improved component of the Lafayette defense this year.
1st and 10 for the Rams as they get the initial 1st down of the ball game. And back to throw, no, as Derrick gives it a ball again to Hunt. He's not going to get back to the line of scrimmage this time. Great penetration by sophomore Keith Bloom. Keith down at the Lafayette Press Luncheon this week. What a nice young man he is from Monaca, Pennsylvania.
Lafayette defensive secondary led by the linebackers, Blake Costanzo, Maurice Bennett, and Wes Erb. And of course, in the deep secondary, Larry Johnson and Ty Murphy are the cornerbacks, and the safeties, Torian Johnson and Brian Kazmarowski. These kids have been getting it done all year long.
Second and a short 12. The ball just shy of the 40-yard line. We'll call it the 29.
That's ours.
Back to throw the football for the first time, Derrick Daniels. He's going to fire high as the pass was intended for Rashawn Haynes. He's one of their shorter receivers at 5'8". The other guys are all in that 6'4" range. Brian Kazmarowski with the coverage.
Yeah, a great coverage by Kazmarowski. They're rotating the safety over. We talked to Frank Devani briefly before the game, Gary. Fordham does have tall, ineffective wideouts. One way to defend them effectively is to bring pressure on Daniels. The other way is to take the deep side out away, and you do that by rotating the safeties over just like that.
Third and a long 11 or a short 12, depending on your optimism here, as Fordham has the football and a big third down play, and Lafayette's coming with the blitz. Back to throw, firing and much too high, as that ball was really aired out, intended again for Rashawn Haynes. So far, Derrick Daniels has been wide and high on his first 2 attempts.
Yeah, he sure has. And Lafayette's doing a good job of getting a defensive push, Gary. They're kind of getting into the face of Derrick Daniels just a little bit, forcing him to release the ball early and high.
DeFino will punt it away, Anthony DeFino. He is averaging 37.5 yards per punt. He has kicked 11 inside the 20-yard line this year. He's going to have to boom one to get this one inside the 20.
You're right, Gary. On the exchange of punts here, Lafayette stands to gain field position.
Punt is end over end. It will be collected. As making good moves is Lafayette's number 2.
Watch out.
Brandon Stanford. Brandon Stanford with a great run back. Collected it at about the 32-yard line. Carrie Williams is there to make the tackle. We're going to call timeout. Lafayette is in Fordham territory when we come back. We are back. It is a beautiful view here. We're high atop the press box. That's the upside. The downside is we're outside, and the wind every now and then blows up, but I'm being surrounded by Plattenberg and Ludroff, and so therefore I am
insulated.
Insulated. Right from the 50-yard line. Here's a quick out to Brandon Stanford. He just made a real nice run back. He'll get the ball to the 45-yard line. Tyrone Thorne is in to make the tackle. It'll be a gain of 5.
Gary, unlike Lafayette's first possession, they win first down. We talked about it a few other times. When you can get 4 to 5 to 6 yards on first down, it sets up a good offensive situation. Tommy Holloway, Tyrone Thorne, Patrick Ora, and the Quentin Gaines. The Quentin Gaines is the key. He's an outstanding outside linebacker for the Fordham defense.
Ted Cornegay was the Patriot League Defensive Player of the Year preseason. As they give the ball to Joe McCord, and he's going to get a yard at best. Tommy Holloway and the Quentin Gaines there to make the tackle, and Lafayette's going to look at a 3rd and 4.
Gary, here is that defensive backfield. Rashard Hicks, Alex Colson, Greg Whalen, and of course, Gary just alluded to Tad Cornegay, who's had 7 interceptions, 3 in 1 game last week. So you want to do your best to avoid that guy if you're putting the ball in the air.
Lafayette came in with 197 yards rushing per game, 141.4 passing for 338.4. Fordham defense gives up 330.8, so we should get it right around 330. Great job by Brandon Stanford, but he lost the ball. And it's going to be recovered by Tad Cornegay, as Stanford broke away and was looking to go for the first down, and then he lost the football, and Tad Cornegay with the fumble recovery.
What a strange play, because Fordham very nearly on an instantaneous hit right here. Boom. Great job by Stanford to hold on to the ball right here, Gary. It looks like he's going to miraculously turn it into a big play, but right at the point where he's about to break free, the ball pops loose, and guess who? Number 1, Ted Cornegay, there to clean up for the Fordham defense.
That's his first fumble recovery of the year, but it does give Fordham the football, as they'll have it 1st and 10 at their 43-yard line. It's going to be a draw play to Hunt. Hunt's not going anywhere. Lafayette certainly stuffed that as Snipes makes the tackle, but the initial stuff from Keith Bloom, and there'll be a loss on the play all the way back to the 40-yard line. That's going to be a loss of 3.
Yeah, watch the inside penetration, Gary. We talked about it. That's Laceno. Here comes Bloom. Now watch the pursuit by Brown on the outside. Gary, we talked about it early. Lafayette continues to do a great job with their defensive front to bring pressure on the Fordham offense.
Here's a quick pass thrown out here to Rashawn Haynes. Haynes will be stopped short of the first down and short of midfield, as he'll pick up about 8 yards on the pass. Snipes and Herb are there to make the tackle.
Take a look at some of the losses to this Fordham. They graduation. They lost the quarterback Kevin Aiken, who was great. Kerwin Watson, an outstanding running back, and of course wide receiver Javaris Dudley, who was just an absolute game breaker.
Don't even.
That's right.
Don't even mention his name.
Oh my goodness.
Javaris Dudley.
That's a scary player.
He was just everywhere the last time we were here 2 years ago. Back to throw, looking, penalty flag is down. And it's going to be intercepted by Lafayette. And Lafayette's going to get the ball back. I assume the penalty will be against the Rams, as coming up with the interception is Drew Brown. That's his second of the year. John, that's the first time he's intercepted and not returned for a touchdown.
That's exactly right, and I think we're going to get Marvin Snipes up the middle, I believe, was held, absolutely tackled. This play will be declined by the Leopard offense, and by the Leopard defense, and the offense will have the ball.
John, I think there's 2 penalties, and one of them will be tacked on. Here, let's listen. Oh, yeah, the personal foul, John. They will tack that one on.
Well, that was a frustration foul at the end of the hold, but Lafayette gets great penetration right up the middle. I think we're going to see
There
it.
are 2 penalties, 1 live ball, 1 dead ball. Holding on the offense. That penalty will be declined. Result of the play was interception and a first down for Lafayette. At the end of the play, there was a dead ball, personal foul, unnecessary contact on the defense, number 62 from the original offense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, first down, automatic first down.
Take a look at it, John.
Yeah, not from this angle, but you're going to see at the left side, you're right there, 62 holding. There might have been a couple of holds, Gary. I think that looked like a wrestling match, but what a great play by the Leopard defense. Number 50 on the play that time was Andrew Brown. Nose for the football, turns it into a big play for the Leopard defense.
Now we're out of the gun. 1st and 10 from the Fordham 24. He's got a man wide open, and Jonathan Hurt can't quite get to it. Not quite enough air under the football. That would have been 6.
Gary, that is the second time in this game that the Leopard offensive coaches have created a mismatch. We saw it early with Joe McCourt running an out and up on the sideline, a near miss. That creates a linebacker on a running back. That's usually a mismatch. Jonathan Hurt's speed outran the linebacker that was covering him, and Brad Maurer just missed him.
2nd and 10 from the 24-yard line. Stanford single coverage on the right side. Big Joe McCourt barrels his way forward. Oh, that is vintage Joe McCourt all the way down to the 11-yard line, a gain of 13.
Joe McCourt doing his best impersonation of a Brahma bull. I mean, they latched onto him, Gary, about 7 yards from where he was finally stopped. But take a look at Joe McCourt. Ran right through the arm tackle of Cornegay, but Tommy Stevens and Greg Whalen finally brought him down, but not before Joe McCourt took them for a little bit of a ride.
First down of the game for Lafayette. They're looking at a 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line, trying to strike first here in the Bronx. Brad Maurer will step up inside. And Brad looks like he got down to about the 7-yard line. The Quentin Gaines again, along with Adam Ackerman, there to make the tackle. This would be a gain of 4, and the Leopards will look at a 2nd and 6.
Probably a smart play by Brad Maurer. He's down there. He feels the action. From up here, Gary, our vantage point, I thought the pitch was there. Didn't look like Fordham had the tailback covered. That was Joe McCourt, but Maurer turns it upfield, significant gain.
Again, it's Joe McCourt to the outside. He's got the corner touchdown. Joe McCourt adds to his points record for Lafayette. Talk about destroying the defense on the left side, John. There was not a Fordham shirt on that entire side of the field.
Well, Drew Buechner's in the game right now. That's him. Here's big number 73. That's Bob Suhaney. And look at him just seal off the left side of the Fordham defensive front. Joe McCourt walks virtually untouched into the end zone. Again, Gary, we listed 5 or 6 of those offensive linemen early on, but, you know, Bobby Hefner rotates those guys in and out. There's a lot of kids doing a lot of good work down there.
Rick Ziska will be in to kick the extra point. He has been perfect all year. 20 for 20, make it 21 for 21. 7:15 on the clock. First period, Lafayette strikes first. And who else? Joe McCourt. They give him 7 yards on the carry. He now has 266 points. Stay with us. We are back. We're going to watch this offensive line at work, John.
Watch the Quentin Gaines is 56, the leading tackler, but look at the pull. That's Bono, Zuhaney doing a great job. Joe McCourt keeps his uniform clean with offensive line work like that.
I'll tell you, some of the work, too, you could tell by the quarterback, Brad Maurer, because all that defensive unit was moving to their left, away from where the play ended up going.
Yeah, Brad Maurer does a great job with the little nuances of running the position, Gary. He orchestrates that offense, ball handling, footwork, timing, that all falls to the ability of the quarterback and his feel for the game.
Kerry Williams is deep to receive the kickoff of Lafayette. Ziska approaches and gets a good, strong leg into this one, and it will drive into the end zone. Number 27, Raymond Loney. And Loney does a nice job of getting back outside the 20, but here comes another yellow flag. And again, this almost always against the return team.
Yeah, an interesting decision to come out of the end zone about 5 yards deep with that football. And we'll take a look, but you're right, Gary. On the return, it's normally a block in the back. It is a hold on Fordham. So again, the Fordham Rams will start from deep in their own territory.
This will be their third penalty. And this will be a half the distance.
Holding number 15. Penalty enforced from the spot of the foul, half the distance to the goal line. First down, Fordham University.
So they'll go back to the 7. They now have been penalized 3 times for 32 yards. And they'll have the ball deep in their own territory.
Gary, that's a big penalty because Loney had turned a disastrous play into a pretty good field position.
And we're going to get illegal procedure here against Fordham. They're going to go back another half the distance to about the 3.5-yard line. We're going to go a long distance down on the field to Dan Mowdy.
Hi, Gary. Speaking of long distance, I was on the other side of the field. For me, that's a long way, but I got a chance to talk with the trainers over there for the Lafayette Leopards. Brandon Sanford was receiving some attention. He has aggravated a shoulder, but is still available to play. He's been a big factor in this game so far, although it's Lafayette's last turnover, kind of his responsibility. His shoulder's good, and he'll be back ready. Back to you.
Fumble into the end zone, and the ball is loose. Lafayette says they have it.
And they do.
Lafayette says they have it. It's going to be a Lafayette touchdown. Who's on the bottom of the pile? Andrew Brown with his second touchdown of the season.
Gary, the Lafayette defensive front continues to put enormous pressure on the Fordham Ram offense, getting great penetration. This game in the first quarter, in the early stages, Gary, belongs to the Lafayette defense. It was their big interception that led to the first score, and directly the defensive penetration creates another defensive touchdown.
Drew Brown came into the game with an interception and a touchdown. He's added to that now, 2 interceptions. Came in with 2 fumble recoveries. He now has 3. And John, he's right up there in the scoring leader list.
Incredible stuff. Great job. Lafayette has done a great job all year long, Gary, of staying focused after big wins and picking themselves up after disappointing losses.
The kick is up. The kick is good. Rick Ziska now. A perfect 22 for 22, and Lafayette up on top by a 14-0 score. John, let's take a look at some of the scores from last week's Patriot League action.
Yeah, the Patriot League faring well. Holy Cross pounding Dartmouth. Of course, the Lafayette-Bucknell game, a virtual toss-up. What a great game that was. Colgate beats Cornell. Lehigh pounds beats Yale. Didn't pound them, but they a great win over the Illini. The Elis. Fordham was open and Georgetown open, but you know, Gary, the catchphrase in the Patriot League this year, I think, is parity. And on any given Saturday in the Patriot League, you just can't take anybody lightly. It's a great year for Patriot League football.
Well, it's been a great start for Lafayette football. 7:03 still on the clock in the first quarter. And Lafayette has jumped out to a 14-0 lead. And John, you would have to assume, coming off a bye week, that this ball club, the Fordham Rams, thought they would be the ones that get off to the really terrific start, and that just has not happened.
It has not, Gary, and as I suggested, you know, that the bye week is kind of a sword that cuts both ways. Lafayette was riding an emotional high off that great win at Bucknell, and you know, while Fordham may have been able to lick its wounds and get itself healthy a little bit, sometimes coaches don't like that bye week, especially when you're playing well. They want to keep the momentum going, and sometimes it's difficult to do that when you've had 2 weeks to think about it.
All right, they have to think about Raymond Loney. He is averaging 35 yards per return, and Johnny has a 97-yard touchdown return on a kickoff against Brown, and he is trying to avoid the Leopard. Boy, he's slippery. Wow. He should have been tackled back around the 13-yard line, and nobody could get him until Wes Erb grabs him and puts him down.
Well, he slips, literally slips about 4 tackles, Gary. You give credit to the Leopard pursuit, but the pursuit almost ran out of people. That looks like Trey Martell. Down on the ground is another Leopard, and finally the posse arrives, but not before Loney turns it into a significant gain, probably a little more exciting than the yardage might indicate, but, you know, Gary, they're out to the 25.
It'll be 1st and 10 for the Rams. Their last 2 possessions have been turnovers, an interception and a fumble in the end zone, which Lafayette converted into a touchdown. 1st and 10 for Fordham. And again, showing blitz. Here comes the Leopards.
Watch out.
And they have a perfect play set up. The screen pass to Hunt. And Hunt's got plenty of running room. And Jamal Hunt could go. 40, 35, 30. The perfect call against the defense. And Jamal Hunt trying to get in the end zone. He will go 75 yards for the touchdown.
Gary, Lafayette was riding an emotional high created by the defense. Watch everybody come. Watch everybody come. And give credit to Daniels. He barely avoids the sack, but watch, stop it. Everybody is in the backfield. We just missed all those white shirts. Gary, there's nobody left upfield. There's only one more block right here downfield. And now it only takes Jamal Hunt to set up this last block downfield and give credit. I think that's number 13, Mike Kelvin, downfield blocking to give Fordham the huge touchdown.
Micah Kluge is in to kick the extra point. He's 21 out of 22. He's now 22 out of 23. And just like that, the Rams strike very, very quickly for Derrick Daniels. Johnny got his touchdown pass. That's his 13th now of the season. Jamal Hunt, his 2nd touchdown reception of the year. 14-7, 6:35 to go in the first period, John. We better get ourselves buckled in here. This is going to be one of those days.
Watch out as we take a look at the Patriot League standings. Lafayette, for the first time in a long time, Gary, sits alone atop the Patriot League with the 2-0 record. But again, lurking, Lehigh, Colgate, Fordham, all quality teams. Bucknell having a good year. How about Holy Cross's win over Yale last week? And of course, Georgetown always competitive. But Gary, there's the parity I talked about. You really can't take anybody lightly. Gary, going back to that last play, you alluded to it. The perfect call at the right time. Lafayette's defense riding an emotional high. What Fordham's offensive coaches saw, they exploited. They almost used Lafayette's momentum and aggression and hype against them. They allowed the heavy pass rush, let the defensive interference come upfield, and they simply threw the screen pass over it, and Hunt was off to the races. Great call by the Fordham offensive coaching staff.
So Fordham will tee it up as Benjamin Dotto will kick it off. He's just a freshman, 6'3", 190 pounds. And Dotto, the last time, John, kicked it away from Larry Johnson. He didn't want him to have any part of it. And it looks like he's lined up to do the same thing again.
Yeah, part of it is Larry Johnson, and part of it is the stiff wind that he's kicking into. And again, we're going to have the same scenario as a fair catch is made at about the 22-yard line.
By Anthony Jones, smart play. He does not risk fumbling or losing the football, and Lafayette will get it. 1st and 10, and it looks like they are going to mark it at the 23-yard line.
Gary, we've talked about the defensive prowess of both of these football teams. We've played 9 minutes, and we've had 3 touchdowns. Now, granted, 2 of those touchdowns on Lafayette's side of the board, at least, have been created directly by the defense. So a good defense doesn't necessarily indicate a low-scoring football game.
It certainly has created a rather lengthy first period with still 6:35 to go.
Well, I got an alumni dinner to get to, so these guys better speed it up.
Well, they'll speed it up over the middle. Chad Walker will go rumbling up to the 39-yard line. Chad Walker will pick up 16 yards before Gaines is there. to put him down. Nice pass play and a good completion by Brad Maurer.
Yeah, look at the work of the offensive line. Brad Maurer has time to just sit there and allow Chad Walker to get comfortably into his pattern. It's just a simple slant over the middle. Gary, more and more, the Lafayette offensive coaches are working their tight end into their scheme.
1st and 10 from the 39-yard line. Turn around, give it to Joe McCourt. And Joe gets smacked head on, but he never seems to go backwards.
Never.
Wait till you see this hit on Joe McCourt. This is helmet to face mask, and he still manages to move forward. Greg Whalen with the hit.
Yeah, now let's stop it now. Nice job. Good block right here by the offensive line. Joe McCourt. Now right here's the hit. Boom, Gary. Look, right there, a normal running back gets pushed backwards, but I got to tell you, Joe McCourt follows the nice lead back of number 70, Mike Lewandos. Once he gets hit, Gary, no matter, after contact, still is able to fall forward for 4 yards.
John, a normal running back takes his nose and moves it back to the front of his face. That was quite a stick, a gain of 6, 2nd and 4. Maurer trying to get the pitch, and instead a swarming Fordham Ram defense is all over him, led by Jay Edwards and, of course, NaQuinton Gaines.
Yeah, NaQuinton Gaines is always going to be around the football, and this is just great quickness. Fordham sniffs it out early, and there's all kinds of maroon shirts at the edge. Brad Maurer has no chance. Right here, he knows they've done an effective job of taking away the pitch. Brad has no option other than to turn it upfield into what looked like a team picture of the Fordham defense.
So Lafayette will look at a 3rd and about 5 yards to go for a 1st down. And Maurer will work out of the gun. Good protection. Steps up and flips the ball out here, and it's not caught. It was in the hands of Joe Ort, and he could not hang on to it. Greg Whalen made sure he didn't get a second chance. So we'll have our second punt of the ball game by Mike Davis. His first one was a 40-yarder. Perdatko standing back at around his 16-yard line. Low snap, but a very, very high punt, but plenty of space between Perdatko and any white shirt. He gets it at the 11. Good coverage. Wes Erb is down there to make the tackle. That punt covered 45 yards. And again, Fordham will start rather deep in their own territory.
Gary, you made a great point. For a moment there, the punt was so high and so long by Mike Davis, it almost became a negative, because sometimes you can out-kick your coverage. The ideal thing is to get it high, fairly long, but enough hang time so that your coverage team can get down there. But give credit to the Lafayette speed on the edges. They covered nicely that long, high kick by Mike Davis.
So it's 1st and 10 for the Rams. They mark it right at the 20-yard line. Their last play went 75 yards for the touchdown. Derrick Daniels shuffling some people around in the backfield, gives it to Jamal Hunt. Hits the hole very quickly and gets gathered in by Danny Laceno. They'll put him down at the 25, and that'll be a gain of 5.
Yeah, once again, it's a tackle made by the defensive lineman for Lafayette. Watch number 93, Danny Laceno, with great penetration, good lateral speed. You know, Gary, lots of times your linebackers and sometimes your safeties are your leading tacklers. That may be the case, but it's not for the lack of effectiveness of the Lafayette down lineman.
2nd and 5 from the 25. Daniels back to throw. He'll let go of it, and it's going to be knocked down. Great defensive play by Ty Murphy, as he just simply reached over and around Steve Porco. Porco came in with 17 catches, 4 touchdowns, 256 yards.
Well, it's a deep out thrown from the far hash, so that ball has to travel about 30 yards in the air across the field, and that allowed Ty Murphy, with great coverage as we take a look at Ty, to make his break on the ball and bat it down with his right hand.
Big 3rd down play, 3rd and 5. They'll work out of the gun. Derrick Daniels, just a sophomore from Washington, D.C. And they need to get to the 30-yard line. Where will the official mark forward progress for Raymond Loney?
Gary, he got a very favorable spot. I think they're probably going to get it by the length of the football. I got to tell you, when Loney came down, Gary, the ball was down by his stomach. His shoulder pads actually hit the 30, but the ball never did. Let's take a look at it.
That's Perdatko, John. Let me make that.
Perdatko, I'm sorry. 23 is Perdatko. And, Gary, look where the ball is. That's clearly a half-yard short of the 30-yard line, so a favorable spot for the Fordham offense, and they will go 1st and 10 from the 30.
Half yards can be rather important.
Well, especially
based
when
on
it's third
last
down.
week's game against Bucknell.
Oh, yeah.
Where they were tackled on the half-yard line. Trying to strip the ball was Andrew Brown, as carrying it was Jamal Hunt. And Brown just started at his shoulder pads and came all the way down to his legs.
Well, what he tried to do, and give credit to him, watch Andrew Brown, number 50. He tries to strip the ball right there, and it's rare, Gary, that it shows the strength of Andrew Brown. Not only can he try to strip the ball, but he's got the strength to make the tackle at the same time.
Gain of 1. Looked like Alex Rodriguez running the first base.
Good analogy. I think Alex hit the first baseman harder, or the pitcher.
Firing over the middle. That's going to be a good catch, good throw. As that one is complete to Porco. He'll get it up to the 44-yard line. That'll be a pickup of 13 yards and another Ram first down.
Yeah, Steve Porco, though Fordham has lost significant skill position people to graduation, Steve Porco is not one of them. He comes back from last year, and boy, this ball is delivered right on the numbers. It's low where only Porco can catch it. You know, Gary, early on, I'm very impressed with the arm strength of Derrick Daniels.
4th first down by the Rams. Give it to Hunt, trying to find some running room. He'll get maybe a yard as Blake Costanzo closed on him. He'll get to the 45-yard line, and he'll bring up 2nd and 9.
Lots of new faces on the Fordham offense, and the book on this team, Gary, is that as their offense, their young and inexperienced offense begins to grow or grows throughout the year, the defense is kind of going to hold the fort for them. So it's important. Those 14 first-quarter points loom very large for the Leopards.
Their offense is averaging 28.3 points per ball game. And, John, they are 17 for 18 for putting points on the board in the red zone. Here comes the blitz. Oh, Daniels took a shot, and it's going to be almost intercepted, but I think being out of bounds would have been Torian Johnson. That pass was intended for Raymond Loney, and oh, did Maurice Bennett lay out Derrick Daniels.
Yeah, here comes Maurice Bennett, the right side of your screen, and that's not roughing, Gary, because Maurice Bennett had started to make the tackle almost at the same time that Daniels let the ball go. But we talked about the kid's arm strength. This ball's out of bounds. Nice play by Torian Johnson, but Gary, off his back foot, Daniels threw that ball about 50 yards in the air, so make no mistake about it, this kid's got a gun.
3rd and 9, exactly 2 minutes to go in the first period. And we're going to get a timeout called here down on the field by Fordham, as they want to make sure everybody's on the same page. Daniels had sent everybody up to the line of scrimmage and then called them all back. And it gives us an opportunity to go to our trivia question a little early, presented by the Maroon Club. Your participation builds success. Join the Maroon Club today. Fordham's Tad Cornegay is no Superman, even though he has 7 interceptions this year already. What true Superman held the record for interceptions from 1987 to 2002? The obvious hint is the word Superman.
I would think so.
Yeah.
So I'll take a guess, but I didn't know he played football.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll come back to the answer very shortly. But I think John has a line on the correct answer.
Gary, 2 teams that the relative or comparative scores might indicate, and new faces in the lineup, and style of play and team personality. 2 teams evenly matched, and so despite the quick lead that Lafayette enjoyed, Fordham answered quickly. I think we're going to be in for a dogfight today.
Well, here's a big play right here on a 3rd and 9. Fordham trying to keep their drive alive as this drive started on their own 20. From the 45-yard line, here come the Leopards again, blitzing, and the pass out to the sideline. That's going to be out of bounds. Intended for Rashawn Haynes. Coverage on the play by Larry Johnson, and Fordham will punt it away.
Again, early in the game, or actually pregame, we had a chance to talk to Frank Tavani, and he said, watch the left side of your screen. I think it's Justin Stovall who comes on an outside blitz. No, it's the right side of your screen. But Gary, we talked to Frank Tavani about how to defend Derrick Daniels and the tall wideouts that he has the ability to throw to. And Frank talked less about the secondary than he did about bringing pressure on Derrick Daniels. Early going, Lafayette putting all kinds of pressure on the Fordham quarterback.
DeFino is in to punt it away. The last time they punted, Brandon Stanford ran it back 18 yards. It's going to be a high spiral that Stanford will collect at the 15-yard line. He avoids the first tackler, and he can't avoid the second wave, and here comes a penalty flag.
Late after the play.
Everybody on the Fordham side saw it, too. You could just hear the crowd, the groan, when they saw the hit, and they were waiting for the flag. That's a 40-yard punt.
And Lafayette dodged the bullet on the early block. I think it's the right side of your screen. I thought it was Wes Erb, not quite sure. But somebody nearly avoided a block in the back, but later on, there was another infraction that the referees did catch.
John, this will set the ball back to the 9.5-yard line. We'll put it down as a 10-yard penalty. And it is rare to see Lafayette get penalized. They're one of the least penalized teams in the nation.
And it has served them well.
Turn. Illegal block in the back on the receiving team, number 36. Penalty enforced from the end of the run, half the distance to the goal, first down and 10, Fordham.
They're going to mark the ball at the 10-yard line. Take a look at it here. There it was. It was close.
Yeah, you know, Gary, and I guess they did call that first one. The flag came very, very late from the referee that was trailing the play. So Lafayette will start from deep in its own territory. Watch out for Quentin Gaines and Ted Cornegay. They love when they've got the offense backed up.
Leopards by 7. Hand off to Joe McCourt. And Joey will fall forward maybe for a yard to the 11-yard line. Jay Edwards. Jay Edwards is a good one. He's a junior from Florida, 260 pounds, 6'2", as Joe McCourt gets a yard.
Gary, this is an important series that the Leopards can get a first down, because I tell you, the ball is going to change ends of the field at this point, and with that will be the wind advantage. Right now, the Leopards would punt with the wind. If Fordham can hold Lafayette here, they will be forced to punt into the wind.
2nd and 9. Rolling Maurer. He's looking to tuck it. And he cuts back, and Maurer will just get back to the line of scrimmage as he just gets to the 11 before Greg Whalen puts him down. No gain.
Yeah, and take a look at the great pursuit by the Fordham defense. Gary, these kids got some speed, because we know that Brad Maurer does, but look at the pursuit by the Fordham defense as they string that play out and force Brad Maurer to turn it back upfield. 39 seconds and counting, Gary, and if Fordham can make a stop right here, Lafayette may be forced to punt this football into the wind.
We've set another record so far. This is the longest first period of the year by far. Almost 50 minutes in length. Maurer, draw play, McCourt. Cutting back. Joey's going to get the first down. Over the 20-25. And Joey's going to rumble, and I mean rumble, all the way up to the 37-yard line. Ted Cornegay knocks him out of bounds. That's a 26-yard gain.
Yeah, watch big number 77 right here, Steve Bono, who absolutely holds off, walls off the right side of that Fordham offensive line. You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. Joe McCourt picks right up where he left off the last 3 weeks. Joe McCourt, huge play.
7 carries, 56 yards for Joey. None bigger than that. It got Lafayette out from their end zone area and keeps the drive alive. 1st and 10. It's McCourt. And Joey will fall forward this time to the 39 or 40-yard line as he gets tripped up. Somebody got down around his ankles. Akeem Jones was there. Akeem Jones is a 6'4", 290-pound senior. The ball in the 39. The first period comes to a close. We said you've got a McCourt, this guy, and we have been McCourt. We'll be back. You're watching Lafayette football on the Lafayette Sports Network. We are back. No baseball in the Bronx.
There is no joy in Mudville. We go back to football.
From the 39, Maurer will lay it out here for Brandon Stanford. He'll go down immediately. It looks like they'll mark it at about the 45-yard line. Greg Whalen is there to make the tackle. And John, let's go back to Joey's big run. He'll get over 4,000 yards lugging that pigskin for the Lafayette Leopards with that baby.
Yeah, and lugging's a good word. Joe McCourt just probably issuing as much punishment as he takes when he runs the football. But boy, this is the anchor of that Lafayette offense, Gary. Now they're in their mode. Long, sustained, punishing drives. This is the kind of game they want to play today.
And they'll get the first down. Again, give it to the horse and ride that horse. They ride McCourt right through to the 48. He'll get the first down. The Quentin Gaines is there to make the tackle, a gain of 3.
Yeah, watch the work of the offensive line again. Zuhaney, I believe, is 73 down under the pile. Joe McCourt just rides the backs of those big down linemen and Joe McCourt continues to pile up the yardage, and the offensive line, Gary, continues to pile up confidence and a personal identity that really has been the staple of this Leopard offense this year.
John, can a horse ride horses?
I don't know, but they've got they got double horses. They got horses blocking and horses running.
Some horses up here, too.
Like a rodeo down there.
Joe McCourt will take it into Fordham territory to about the 48-yard line. And this has been vintage Lafayette football. This drive right here is the way they have played the game this year. Zach Maurer is there to make the tackle. McCourt will go down at the 48, and he'll pick up 4.
And it's interesting you say that, Gary, because that's absolutely true. And it's almost as if the Lafayette defense has forced the offense to change their MO. The short field, the big plays defensively. Lafayette, for the first time all afternoon, started this drive from deep in their own territory, and they give it to their go-to guy. The result, a long, sustained drive to this point.
Maurer will give it to McCourt. And Joey this time is going to get nailed right as he got to the line of scrimmage. Looks like he got a yard. Jay Edwards is there to make the tackle, and Lafayette's going to look at a 3rd and 5. Give Joe 1.
Yeah, it's just a simple draw play out of the shotgun. Not much there for Joe McCourt. And Gary, what's significant about Lafayette's ability to run the ball between the tackles, the wind has died down just a little bit, but it is gusting today, and it is gusting in their face right now. That being the case, you want to keep it away from Daniels, and you want to keep it on the ground and chew up clock. Ball control, time of possession has been a key for the Leopards this year.
McCourt with 66 yards rushing. Back to throw. It's a screen pass for McCourt. Set up, and Joey really defended very well by Quint Gaines and Cornegay. And those are 2 of the very best in the Patriot League. Gain of 3.
Gary, they had this thing all set up. Nice job by Maurer, invites the rush. Perfect timing. Now right here, hold on. Here's the Clayton Guinness, and you're going to and you're going to see Cornegay right there, who just snuffed that play out. It looked like McCourt was going to get the first down right before that, and the 2 big defensive play specialists for Fordham negate the first down.
Gain of 3 yards on the play. They're going to be stopped shy of a first down by a couple.
Gary, sometimes you can't fault the execution of the offense. You got to kind of just pat the defense on the back and say nice play. And boy,
John, you know that Frank Tavani hates to give the football up in this situation.
There's no question about it.
Right here, looking at a 4th and a couple. But Lafayette with the lead will punt it away. And that's Mike Davis dropping it down to Prodotko. He'll call for a fair catch at the 9. And that's one of those good punts inside the 20, a 35-yarder.
That was just great coverage, too. Larry Johnson was the first one down there, but Lafayette did a great job to cover that punt. Again, an illustration of the much improved team speed. Special teams, Gary, all year long. Lafayette has done a great job, and the special teams play has given them great field position game in and game out.
The ball on the 9-yard line. And again, Lafayette forces Fordham to start deep. They started on the 7, on the 20, 25. Of course, the 25-yard start led to an immediate touchdown. Hand the ball off. We get a fresh running back in Tristan Martin in there. Martin came in with 23 yards rushing, 2.9 yards per carry. Snipes and Sprinkle. As you get a look at current scores, Easton Coach brings you out-of-town scores. They're the motor carrier of choice for the Lafayette Leopards. Colgate up by 2, and Lehigh and Bucknell are in a defensive struggle at 6-0.
Interesting. Gary, the last time the Leopards had the ball in this very same situation, they turned it into a long drive that changed field position. If the Leopard defense can hold here, they stand to gain the ball back, gaining ground on the exchange of punts.
Lafayette calls timeout as they were in a defense they didn't particularly care for. And Dan Mounty's been snooping around down on the sidelines. Let's hear what he's found out. Here's Dan.
All right, Gary. On Lafayette Leopards receiving corps. They've been banged up a little bit throughout the season. Brandon Sanford has been a mainstay, but he too is starting to feel it a little bit. That shoulder injury continues to cause him some pain every time he catches the ball and is brought down to the ground. Matt Bailey quickly working with Brandon, and Brandon's got to be pound for pound the toughest guy on this squad, at least on offense. Also, we saw Joe Ort go down and take some time to get up. It is not anything related to the concussion he suffered in Princeton. He just simply had the wind knocked out of him. And last but not least, Joe McCourt moving back into the tailback position appears to be a coach's choice. The trainers say there's no medical reason for it. Now back to you.
It might be my coach's choice, too, if I keep him back there the way he's been running the football.
I would think so.
Let's go back to the trivia question. We asked you to figure out which Superman held the record for interceptions from 1987 to 2002. That Superman was none other than Dean Cain, the actor. Is that who you were going to guess?
I think so, yeah. That's who I thought it was. But, I mean, it's not fair, is it? I mean, he's got all that kryptonite stuff, and he can fly. You can't. Isn't there some NCAA violation against that?
Well, Johnny had 12 in 87 for the Princeton Tigers. He had 22 interceptions in 30 games. The record broken by Rashean Mathis of Bethune-Cookman, set in 2002. Rashean Mathis now plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, as we take a look at the Fordham replay, it's going to be 3rd down. And, I mean, isn't that something like Johnny Weissmuller holding the NCAA swimming title? There's got to be an NCAA investigation, I would think.
I think you're absolutely correct. The ball up to the 15 on the 4-yard run by Predatko.
Whatever I said.
John, only 10% of our audience knows who Johnny Weissmuller is.
Come on, Johnny Weissmuller. Tarzan.
That's a long time ago. They'll throw it out here. That'll be good for a first down. Eric Conroy avoids a tackle. Oh, talk about helmet to helmet. Wow, let's hope that Kazmarowski gets up. He just took a shot. Danny Laceno also in on the tackle, and they've got to get Kazmarowski out of here, John.
Yeah, he's a little woozy, as they say, but so is Conroy. What a great boom. Look at his hit, and he does a great job to shake off Wes Erb. Dan Laceno in pursuit, but man, Kazmarowski takes this in a bad spot right at the neck. So we'll keep our eye on Brian Kazmarowski. He is critical to this Leopard defense.
One of those plays that has concussion written all over it. 1st and 10. Over 100 yards throwing now for Derrick Daniels at 109. Quickly flips one out to Raymond Loney. And Raymond Loney can't catch that ball. It was not very well thrown.
Not very well thrown and very well covered by the Leopards. Larry Johnson was out here, as was Torian Johnson. So lots of little sidearm action here by Derrick Daniels. And unfortunately for Fordham, the ball goes sailing out of bounds. I don't think there would have been much there anyway, as Dario Taylor, 87, was on the receiving end.
2nd and 10, the ball on the 28-yard line. 10:01 on the clock, and it is stopped on the incomplete pass. Daniels back, flipping over the middle. That's a nice catch by Porco. He went high, as he can do, at 6'4", and pulls it in. He's going to be stopped shy of a first down. A gain of 7. Larry Johnson on the cover.
Yeah, and a great read by Larry Johnson right here, because it's a quick post. And Johnson does a great job to recover. Porco had created some space between himself and Johnson, but Johnson did a nice job of recovering and snuffing out the first down. Going to be 3rd down, Gary. Call it 3?
It'll be 3 from the 35-yard line. Coming out wide to the right side is Darrell Taylor. Probably a passing situation for the Rams. Daniels back, looking, popping again over the middle, and that will be Porco again. He'll get the first down at the 40. Needed 3, and he got 5. Maurice Bennett with the pop.
Gary, if there is any question coming into this game as to what is at stake, all you got to do is take a look at the intensity of play down there and the ferociousness of the hitting that's going on. Both of these teams come in with their eye on the prize, which is a Patriot League championship. Lafayette at 2-0, Fordham at 1-0. And you know what? You stubbed your toe once in this league, you could be on the outside looking in.
And this game, John, has settled into the kind of football game we expected. That first quarter, a bit of an anomaly. You're running away from the intended tackler is Mike Melvin. And Mike Melvin will get to the 45. Ty Murphy turns around and makes the tackle, as that will be a pickup of 15 yards and another first down.
Well, you talk about yards after catch, and Melvin does a great job, very nearly a face mask play here, but watch Melvin, inside out, nice job to elude Ty Murphy and then cover up the football. Almost, Blake Costanzo almost got a hand on a face mask. No call there. Good fortune for the Leopards, but Fordham driving.
Daniels 4 out of his last 5 passes, 3 in a row. Coming in to get him is Marvin Snipes. He can't get him, and wide open on the left side, top of your screen, and making a move down towards the 11-yard line. Great job by Derrick Daniels to get away from trouble, and then he finds James Prodotko to complete the pass. Brungo on the tackle.
Stop it now. This is all about the feet of Derrick Daniels, because the Lafayette, Marvin Snipes has him dead to rights, but when that happens, when he avoids the sack, Gary, everything white and maroon is moving to the left side of the field. He throws it back to the right, and all alone is the Fordham receiver. A big play for the offense, but give that play to Derrick Daniels and his ability to avoid the sack.
First and goal to go for the Fordham Rams, right inside the 10-yard line. Daniels back. He's going to go for his big, tall receiver, as that was intended for Porco, and that's what they do, John, in the red zone. Good coverage by Larry Johnson.
Yeah, Frank Tavani made no mistake about it. They're going to throw the ball high. These guys are about 6'5", 6'7". Unfortunately, somebody's got to let Derrick Daniels know that they're not 7'6". And that was just a little too high, but how about the hit by Larry Johnson? He's going to make Porco pay for it, and that time it goes incomplete, second down and goal.
Well, Frank Tavani said, my 5'10" guys can't cover their 6'4" guys, so we're going to make them pay if they go up in the air. And that's what they did there. Prodotko is the ball carrier. He'll finally get wrestled down inside the 5 by Trey Martell. Martell just kept his legs churning until he was able to get Prodotko's legs off the ground, and he could put him down. It'll be a gain to the 4-yard line, a gain of 6.
Yeah, I'm going to watch right in the middle. That's the center. Watch the hit. Nice block right here. And then Martell holds on, just holds on until the posse arrives. And good pursuit by the Leopard defense, but give credit to the Fordham defensive front. The guy snapping the football is Amatuzzo. He's doing a nice job for Fordham.
Huge play. Prodotko will go down.
How about the tackle?
As he'll go down at the 3-yard line, as Chris Brungo was the guy who got him around the knees, and Fordham's going to be forced to kick a field goal.
Yeah, I don't know if we can find him in the middle of all this stuff, but watch Chris Brungo get down low. That's just a great tackle right there. Chris Brungo doing a great job. 66, Maurice Bennett just stands up the offensive line, and he allows, with his play from the linebacker position, Gary, allows Brungo to make that play.
Micah Kluge has not missed a field goal. He's 3 for 3, 37, 44, and 34 yards. This one will be a 20-yarder. It's down, the kick is up, and the kick is good. 14-10 now on the scoreboard with 6 minutes and 33 seconds to go. Lafayette on top by 4. You're watching Lafayette football on the Lafayette Sports Network. We are back. Hello, everybody. There is our perch. As you see, we are outside on a breezy, rather chilly day, and right now it's been a kind of a chilly reception by Fordham as they have crept back to within 4. That drive, 81 yards in 12 plays, and it came down to a 20-yard field goal by Micah Kluge to make it 14-10 in favor of Lafayette, as Fordham's Benjamin Dato will tee it up again to kick it off. And again, he has kept the ball away on purpose from Larry Johnson or Alfred Belton. And this time it's going to come to Alfred Belton. He'll collect it at the 14-yard line. He's a speedster, and he's going to get bounced around a little bit before he goes down at around the 27-yard line. One of the dangers, John, of weighing 175 pounds.
I think so. It's one of those positions that, you know, moms and dads don't want their kids to grow up to be return men. Watch Alfred Belton make like a pinball. Boom, boom. He said, well, you already hit me. And on the play were, looked like Cleve and Taylor. 57 and 5, lay in the wood. It's old Alfred Belton, but Alfred pops up. Lafayette now, Gary, 6:26 left in the first half. The thing that Frank Tavani wants to design right now, if he had his druthers, is he'd rather keep that ball for 6 minutes, close out this half with a score.
Well, let's see if he'd rather, if he's able to do that, as he gives it to Joe McCourt. And I'll tell you, they're keen right now on Joey. Every time he has the ball, he's going to run right into a maroon shirt of the Fordham Rams. Patrick Ora is there to make the tackle. And, John, you're right. They'd love to put together now a 73-yard drive and go in up by 10 and take all that time off the clock.
Yeah, but
to
do that, Gary, to sustain a long drive, you've got to win first down. So round 1 goes to the Fordham defense as Lafayette gets no gain and will go 2nd and 10.
Did Fordham jump off sides?
Yes,
Yep,
they did.
They did.
Free play.
Back to throw, and open, and complete. As catching it is Travis Hudson. Travis Hudson's going to be very close to, and I think he has a first down, as it looks like he got to the 38-yard line. That would be a gain of 11 yards, so this penalty will be declined. But as you said, John, a free play makes you that much more confident.
You're right, Gary. What happens is when you're the quarterback and you know that there's a defensive penalty, as Akee Jones makes the tackle. Oh, I'm sorry, he was the one who jumped. He was an interior lineman who jumped. The quarterback knows you can take a chance. You can squeeze it in where you might not otherwise.
Offsides on the defense. That penalty will be declined. Result of the play is a first down.
You know, right here, Gary, on the replay, Brad Maurer knows. He knows that Fordham's offside, so he can throw this football with impunity, because even if there's an interception, the play's coming back. So that's what we mean when we say free play.
I thought he threw it with his right arm. 1st and 10 from the 38-yard line. Clock is running, 5.5 minutes. Here's the option play.
It's there.
It's
rid
there.
of
Joey McCourt now cutting back. Boy, great pursuit.
Well, it was
by the Rams. Yeah.
It was there.
Wasn't there very long.
It was there at first, but that's just what team defensive speed will do for you, Gary. They actually outrun.
Watch Patrick Ora, John, number 42.
Yeah, right, Gary. Here he is, 42. Now look at the speed. He just strings it out and strings it out and strings it out, and he outruns the lead block right there and blows up the play in the backfield. So once again, Lafayette loses first down. They face 2nd and long.
Both teams with a couple of timeouts left as we wind down inside of 5 minutes. Lafayette looks at a 2nd and 10. Maurer back. They're going to drop the ball off to Jonathan Hurt. And Hurt runs right into Marcus Taylor. Whoa, what a great tackle by Marcus Taylor. If anybody's watching at home and you want to see the picture-perfect way to tackle a football player, watch this play over again.
Yeah, just fundamentally sound. And look at this. It's a play that's pretty well designed, but number 5, Taylor, does a great job. Gary, there were 3 white shirts out there, and Taylor stared him down, split the seam, and made a big play. 3rd and long now. If Lafayette wants to keep this drive going, this is what they need.
3rd and 9 from the 39-yard line. Now, looks like he's going to go down. Blitzing in was Tyrone Thorne. Thorne with his 3rd sack of the season from his outside linebacker position will put Brad Maurer down all the way back to the 28-yard line, a loss of 11.
Gary, it was a blitz that was never picked up. Thorne never hesitated a moment. The play fake, they faked the draw to McCourt, but Thorne would have none of it. And it's a huge play for the Fordham defense, Gary. On the change of possession now, they stand to gain great field position.
Punting it away is Mike Davis. He'll get away a high end over end, which Fordham will not return, I don't believe, and Lafayette will touch it. And they'll mark it all the way up at around the 47-yard line or so. When we come back, the Rams will have the football, 2 timeouts, and 3 minutes and 17 seconds to work with. You're watching Lafayette football on the Lafayette Sports Network. We are back as Fordham will put it in play. And John, this is what you hate, to give this team the ball here at the end of the first half, because they're going to get it to start the second half. Yeah. So this is a big defensive sequence here for Lafayette, as Fordham will get the ball into Lafayette territory, as the gain will be up to the 48-yard line. That'll be a gain of 6.
Gary, not only do you give them the ball back heading into halftime, but you give them the ball back with a short field, so the sack looms large. And on the punt, Fordham picks up the ball. They've now moved it already into Lafayette territory.
Jamal Hunt, the ball carrier, picks up the 6 yards, 2nd and 4 from the 48. And again, they have an outstanding kicker in Micah Kluge. Daniels with good protection, and he simply overthrows his big tight end, and I mean big. 6'3", 250-pound junior, James Caffarello.
Well, not only does he overthrow Caffarello, but Gary, if we can stop it now, I'm telling you, Steve Porco, there's nobody, and he was open all the way. It isn't as if people abandoned him after Daniels released the football. I was following Porco the whole way down the field. Nobody was near him, but Daniels had zeroed in on Caffarello.
right around the corner, the Nextel halftime show. But first we look at a 3rd and 4 for the Rams. Daniels back, looking over the middle. He fires, and he does complete it to that big tight end, Caffarello. That's his 11th catch of the season. Caffarello with a touchdown, came in with 131 yards. Blake Costanzo makes the tackle, but that is going to be a Fordham first down as they pick up 5. They need it just 4.
Yeah, again, Gary, they seem to be picking on this area of the zone. Pretty good defense by Costanzo, but he's just not letting the defense get behind him. Fordham taking the underneath stuff, and they are in business first down.
Daniels bobbles the snap. Pump fake and go, and he's looking for Porco. Down the field, good defensive coverage by Ty Murphy. Boy, he's turned with him, turned upfield with him, and stayed step for step with him. Out of town scores by Easton Coach. Colgate 21-0 over Holy Cross now. As Lehigh puts another one up on the board, they lead 13-0 over Bucknell. Monmouth over Georgetown by a 10-7 score.
Arguably business as usual, what you might expect in the Patriot League. But, Gary, you're absolutely right. Man, Ty Murphy plays some great defense on Porco on the outside.
2nd and 10 from the 43-yard line. Clock stopped at 2:06. Daniels doesn't keep the ball. He gives it to Hunt. Nice fake by Daniels as he followed through with his fake. Looked like he was going to hang on to it. Danny Luceno is there to make the tackle. The gain is going to be to the 37-yard line, and that's a gain of 6.
Yeah, and how about the speed of Dan Luceno? A nice block thrown by Amatuzzo, and wide out also. I saw Eric Conroy out there, so pretty good execution by Fordham. They pick up significant yards, Gary, but how about Dan Luceno? Pursuit along the defensive line, makes the play on the edge.
John, you always give him extra props because his dad's a Cleveland Browns fan. I mean, we have to stop this stuff.
You blew my cover, Gary. You blew my cover.
The handoff goes to Hunt. Hunt will not get the first down as he'll get only a yard to the 36-yard line. And now we'll see whether or not that field goal unit is ready to come into the ball game. And, John, I noticed the Eagles have a bye week this week as they play the Browns.
You are just atrocious. Thank you. All my Philadelphia Eagle friends.
Bennett and Luceno were in on that tackle, by the way. That is the same Dan Luceno, whose dad is a Cleveland Browns fan.
And an upstate New Yorker, too. So
they're going to go for it here. Big play right here. 4th and 3 for the Lafayette defense from the 36-yard line out of the I formation. Back to throw is Daniels. He's looking. He fires. Whoa, that's perfect. Right between the numbers will give Fordham a first down. Ty Hogan on the catch. Wes Erb makes the tackle. It's a gain of 6. First down, number 10.
Yeah, it's just a little drag pattern. Now watch him come in from this way right there. And, you know, Gary, you don't want to get more than you need. Right there, play it safe, get the first down. 38 seconds and counting.
They do have both timeouts left. Trying to get closer for at least a field goal. Here's Hunt. Nice spin by Jamal Hunt. As that's what running backs practice all the time. The bump and the spin. Bennett, Costanzo, and Brown on the tackle.
Well, Chris Brungo, number 96, thinks he has him. Oh, that's Wes Erb. Watch, that's a whiff. And one of the most surest tacklers, I don't know.
No, that's not good.
That's not good. But one of the surest tacklers on the Lafayette defense is Wes Erb. And I'm telling you, Hunt made a miss big time and picks up very nearly a first down. It'll be just short.
John, obviously not one of the most surest linguists that we have, but doing a great job making the call.
Well, my tongue gets ahead of my brain, which is not unusual, and that's a bad thing to have happen normally.
There's a beautiful campus here in the heart of New York City in the Bronx, and a great place to go to school, as of course is Lafayette. To set the numbers for you, 23 seconds on the clock. Fordham has 1 timeout left. We've got ourselves a 14-10 outstanding ball game. This looked like it was going to be a shootout in New York, and instead has settled in to be just a flat-out good football game.
It has, Gary, and I think it's what you might expect from two teams that, as we said, are pretty evenly matched, and not unlike what you might expect in the entire league this year. I think the difference between the very, very strong teams and the have-nots, if you will, has diminished.
They're running out of time, is Fordham, so that even though it's 2nd and 2, they're probably looking for something big. They're going to fire into the corner. Could it be intercepted? Larry Johnson has it just go off his fingertips. He was the only one in position to catch that ball.
Yeah, and there was a moment in time where I think that Larry Johnson may have just misjudged this football because he was gliding toward it, and I think he needed to turn on the afterburners. There we take a look. Right here, I think Larry Johnson thought he was going to catch that football, and he might have just barely misjudged it. Otherwise, he would have had the huge interception.
Well, let's see if they try to get the first down here on 3rd and 2 with only 17 seconds on the clock and 1 timeout left. They're already in Micah Kluke's range for a field goal, and they're going to waste the timeout, John. That one might really come back to haunt the Rams on this drive. They had already stopped the clock with the incomplete pass, and now they waste the timeout that they very well might have needed for Micah Kluke. So, John, they have to go in the end zone now or at least throw a pass, and if they don't get it in the end zone, they may run out of time.
Gary, I thought they had one left. Was that their last one?
That was their last one.
Oh, well, that is just that's a very, very difficult call. I was under the impression that they had 2. I lost count. What else is new? That said, you're absolutely right, Gary. They now have to throw it in the end zone, throw it incomplete. Although the first down does stop the clock, but I don't think it's going to give the field goal time.
Now wait,
field goal team time.
Let me get this straight. You're having trouble talking. You can't handle numbers.
Yeah.
Who hired this guy?
You're the program director.
Oh, I did. So I can't handle personnel.
And you're just encouraging me by inviting me back every week. I'm thinking it's okay because
we would have no one else who would rather be here.
Although you left without me this morning, and I didn't quite know how to read that.
Here we go, 3rd and a couple from the 22 with no timeouts remaining. Rolling is Daniels, looking is Daniels, pumping and firing into the end zone, and it's going to be an incomplete pass. Great coverage by the Lafayette Leopards. Porco was the intended receiver. Kazmarowski and Johnson with the coverage. 9 seconds on the clock, and they will quickly race Micah Kluke onto the field.
Yeah, and as you suggested, Gary, this has got to be a throw into the end zone. Great coverage by the Leopards, and if you're a Fordham Ram football fan, well executed because they took their shot and left themselves time to kick the field goal, or at least attempt it.
Lafayette's going to use a page out of the Bucknell game, John, and they're going to call a timeout here and try to talk about blocking this field goal, much as they did on the last play of the game last week against the Bison. And Joe Ort is in that group. I think he's going to have a lot of trouble getting out of that group after the block last week.
No question, but for those of you who are still trying to figure things out from last week, let's clarify. If Lafayette blocks this field goal and the ball ends up on the Fordham side of the line of scrimmage, that is a live ball and can be advanced. If the ball is tipped and lands on the defensive or the Lafayette side of the football field, whoever touches it first, it is a dead ball and cannot be advanced.
And John and I will both try not to celebrate if the field goal is blocked a little prematurely.
Thank goodness that Torian Johnson was the only one in that stadium paying attention.
And Paul Plattenberg.
And Plattenberg. Of course, he tackled you trying to get your attention.
Yeah, I know. I had to throw a flag on Plattenberg for unnecessary roughness.
Roughing the announcer. I love it.
This will be a 39-yard field goal attempt. Lest you think that's long, Kluke has a 44-yarder. He's yet to miss this season. He does have a 20-yard field goal in this ball game, and I think we might have another timeout. Yep, Lafayette's going to use them all, John.
It was funny because the referee kind of shrugged his shoulders and said, do we have to? He's wearing a short sleeve shirt, and I think he wants to get into the locker room himself.
Well, that's unnecessary insanity, and he should have a flag thrown on him.
That's right. It's his own fault.
Actually, we've been down in the field. Is not all that uncomfortable.
No,
it's a lot cooler up top here where we are.
Yeah, we happen to be on the 40th floor. It's typical New York City.
What I don't understand, John, is they've got a press box here that's about 80 yards long.
And it's about 80 degrees in that place, too.
And they can't find room for 4 of us?
Goodness. Oh, my
I don't understand it.
I don't know. Well, they're probably trying to tell us something. I don't know quite how to take that.
Well, if you're not from New York, you don't get in the booth.
That's right.
That's why I love those Boston Red Sox. That's what we have for you in 2 weeks. Lafayette has a bye week coming up. And then it's the Raiders of Colgate.
In Hamilton, New York, talk about cold. Hey, Gary, a strong wind to the back, so distance will not be a problem.
39 yards down. Kick is up. It's going to be Good, I believe it is, with 3 seconds on the clock. Kluge again comes through with a 39-yard field goal.
Well, Gary, I said distance wouldn't be a problem, but I got to tell you, it didn't make it by a whole lot. I think Kluge was concentrating on his towards as opposed to how far he kicked it. So direction was key, and let's take a look at Ort in the middle of the field.
That was almost blocked by Kazmarowski.
Yeah, and the ball had a kind of low trajectory and just to the right of those outstretched Leopard arms, and the next thing you know, this is a one-point football game.
That was a drive of 32 yards. They did it in 11 plays.
And Gary,
and we've got just a typical Lafayette weekend of football, 14-13 at the half.
Here we go again, and you know, Gary, you go back to the sack of Brad Maurer that really gave the Fordham offense that short field. So, you know, the game of football is a complicated thing, and sometimes you tend to forget about those big plays earlier on that really lead to the score.
They'll tee it up. Will Benjamin Dado, as you get a look at some of the fans doing some screaming and cheering and yelling for Lafayette. Always a nice contingent of Leopard fans who make the trips. And this was going to bounce around, and Larry Johnson will pick it up at the 20-yard line. And that will end the first half. He'll get it back out to the 27. And the first half will go in the books. And it was a very solid first half of football. Lafayette jumped out on top 14-0, only to have the Rams come back with a touchdown and a couple of field goals to make it a 14-13 score. Lafayette's touchdowns, McCourt and Drew Brown on a fumble recovery in the end zone. And for the Fordham Rams, a Daniels to Jamal Hunt touchdown pass of 75 yards and a couple of Micah Kluge field goals, and that's where we stand right now at 14-13. The Fordham Ram team goes in by themselves, and then the Lafayette team goes in just a little bit later. Dan Mowdy will try to corral head coach Frank Tavani and chat with him about this first half, and then we've got the next halftime report coming your way.
Gary, you and I talked during the break about the effect of the bye week, and you know, you never really know for sure, but certainly it had an effect on both of these teams. We'll develop it in a minute.
Well, let's see what Frank thinks about half number one. Here's Dan.
All right, thanks a lot, Gary and John. Head coach Frank Tavani, a tough first half. You guys certainly had a big advantage there in the first quarter with 2 quick touchdowns. Tell us what happened from that point on.
Well, it's a hard-fought football game, just as we thought. We have to execute better offensively. You know, we're making an awful lot of mistakes out there, a missed block here, missed crack block, just some things that are, you know, causing us to slow down a little bit. And we knew it was going to be a hard-fought football game. We got to come out the second half and play. They're going to get the ball first, and we got to get a stop and just get this thing going. But very much like I thought it would be, and just got to keep playing.
Seems like a hard-hitting game. A lot of your guys coming into this contest with some injuries and some aggravations happening during the game, but so far it seems like everybody is pretty well patched up at this point.
Well, we're okay. You know, going into the game, we've been as healthy as we've been, so you know, we've got a whole half of football to play, and just got to get after it.
All right, head coach Frank Tavani, and we'll be catching up with you in the second half. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, now back to Gary and John.
All right, Dan, thank you very much. 14-13 here at the half. You're watching Lafayette football on the Lafayette Sports Network. Come on back for the next halftime report. Lafayette will tee it up as Rich Ziska is ready to kick it off. Going deep is Raymond Loney. He's the most dangerous of that threesome. Back there also is number 23, James Perdatko, along with 24, Carrie Williams. As we get ready for the final 30 minutes, a very important 30 minutes of Patriot League football.
Ball goes to Loney, Gary. You got to hit him down. You can't arm tackle him. You can't hope to knock him off his feet. He's too slippery. You got to wrap him up and put him to the turf.
He will not get it. Instead, at the 1-yard line, it's collected by Carrie Williams, and he's got some running room. And here comes a penalty flag, a definite hold back there by number 30, Tristan Martin. As Tristan Martin just simply grabbed onto a Leopard and would not let go. And that's really the reason that the run was as successful as it was.
Yeah, because right here, I think it's Torian Johnson on the outside, I think, but you're going to see it. It'll be on the right side of your screen, and it was clearly a hold. The Fordham coaching staff is saying no, 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 and the referee is saying yes, yes, yes. And from the looks of all, it looks like a ticker tape parade down there with all the yellow hankies.
During the return, holding on the receiving team, number 30. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down and 10, Fordham University.
That will take the ball back to the 13-yard line. And John, take a look at number 30 right there.
Yeah, he's holding on, and you know, he does a good job of disguising it, Gary, and give Torian Johnson a little bit of credit because you know, he kind of held his hands inside, but the referee had a great angle, and I think it was 12 Chad Hunter who was held, and Gary, he grasped his shirt and wouldn't let him go. Clearly a hold.
From the 13-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Rams, so they'll start deep in their own territory, and immediately Derrick Daniels wants to go big time. Oh, there's a level of number 80, Steve Porco, the leveling by Torian Johnson. And John, they are certainly making these tall guys pay when they leave their feet.
And that's one way to defend them, Gary. You'll want to get them a little shell shock, but look at the arm strength. This ball delivered a little high. We got a great look at it right here as Porco, the ball a little bit behind him, and Torian Johnson, as you said, Gary, puts the wood to him. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
This time they give the ball to Hunt. Hunt's going to try the left side, and he'll get up over the 15 to the 16 or 17. Wes Erb is there to make the hit. It'll be a gain of 4, and Fordham will be looking at a 3rd and 6.
I don't know if we'll see that again, but Brungo and Laceno got to the edge and forced the running back upfield rather than to the sideline. And the linebackers did a nice job of finishing off the play. Good defensive speed by the Leopards, 3rd and long.
Big play here. Porco making sure he's on the same page with his quarterback, Daniels. Daniels out of the shotgun. He'll hand the ball off as they'll try to fool the Leopards into thinking it's a pass, and they're going to win that battle, as this will be a 1st down carried by Predatko. Trey Martell there to make the tackle. The Leopards were looking pass. Fordham went to the run, and they get 7 yards and a 1st down.
Boy, Andrew Brown nearly blows this thing up in the backfield right there, and it was also Costanzo who got nearly a shoestring tackle. But Predatko does a nice job of avoiding the loss, turns it into a 1st down. Gary, you talked about the importance of this first drive if you're a Fordham Ram fan.
They already get a big 1st down on 3rd and long. They came into the ball game with 29% on 3rd down conversions. That's not terrific. They're not going to convert here as going down and trying to find a way to get rid of the ball, but Keith Bloom was just relentless in getting himself in on Daniels. A loss of 9 on the sack.
Trey Martell, watch the left side of your screen. He comes on an outside blitz, and he's picked up nicely by Jamal Hunt. But the inside rush comes from Keith Bloom. And boy, Derrick Daniels almost gets away from it. This kid is slippery and dangerous, but give credit to the Lafayette defense, Gary. 2nd down and about a country mile, and that's a huge play for the Leopard defense.
2nd sack of the year by Bloom. 1st sack of the ball game by Lafayette. 2nd and 19 from the 15-yard line. Passing situation, Daniels, he doesn't throw it, and instead he hands the ball off for a couple of yards to, as Brungo and Brown are there, to collapse on the ball carrier, and everybody getting up kind of slowly. And in fact, the ball carrier, that's one of the big tackles in there, getting up very slowly.
Gary, what wind there is down on the field is in the face of Fordham at this point. Now, with 3rd down in Times Square, you kind of wonder what the call will be here. Will they try to put it up or play conservatively? If they play conservatively and have to kick it, they're kicking it into the wind and giving Lafayette a short field potentially.
Jamal Hunt was the ball carrier. He got 3 yards. And again, they're not going to take any chances, John. Are you a little surprised by the conservative play calling out there as Kazmarowski, Erb, and Brown are there to make the tackle? They took no chances there to turn the ball over. They just gave it to Hunt to go up the gut and he's going to be stopped 10 yards shy of a first down.
Well, you know, Gary, I am. I mean, they're still in this football game. You don't want to make the big mistake down here, but they have been throwing the ball effectively. Plus, when Derrick Daniels is back there, you've also got to consider the damage he can do with his feet. But they're going to kick it away nonetheless. Lafayette stands to get great field position early in the second half.
DeFino will punt it for the 3rd time in the ball game. He's averaging 34 yards per punt. Lafayette should get decent field position, as this ball is going to go back, roll and roll and roll. It gets a good roll for the Rams all the way back to the 34-yard line. A 41-yard punt for Fordham. Keith Bloom in action. The Leopards, when we come back, have the football. They're up by 1. Stay with us. All right, we are back. Lafayette anxious, John, to get their offense rolling. The officials had to step in and say, wait a minute, the Lafayette Sports Network's away on a commercial. We're ready to go. 1st and 10 from the 34. And we may see a dose of Joe McCourt now. That's been Lafayette's second half. And we've got some pushing and shoving and yelling and screaming right now. Gaines in on the tackle, and Fordham is an angry team.
Yeah, they're playing with a little edge to them, Gary. They're down. They know how important this game is. They are at home. They are in the running for a Patriot League championship, and they know that this guy right here, number 43, is Lafayette's bread and butter on offense. So there's a lot of hitting going on in the trenches down there.
Patrick Ora took exception to something down there because he was ready to start a fight. 2nd and 8 from the 36. Brad Maurer. We haven't seen much of Maurer's feet today.
We will now.
We will. 45. He'll run out of bounds at the 47-yard line. That'll be a gain of 11 and a Lafayette first down. Tommy Stevens runs him out of bounds.
Gary, by design, now watch the reaction. Stop it now. This is a quarterback draw, and you invite the rush upfield. And look at the blocking schemes of the offensive line, and look at 43, Joe McCourt, throw a nice block. That allows Maurer to get to the edge. Lafayette takes a play out of the book of the Fordham offense. Gary, they took advantage of the intensity with which the Fordham defense is playing and used their aggression against them.
You were looking at Derrick Daniels, very relaxed on the sidelines, the quarterback for Fordham, watching his counterpart pick up a big first down. Maurer again, rolling. He's got a man wide open. Drops it to Joe Ort. Joe Ort will turn it upfield. Joe Ort will go out of bounds at the 28-yard line. Tad Cornegay with the tackle. That's a 25-yard gain. 25 for Lafayette.
Gary, watch the maroon shirts on this replay. Everybody goes to the left. Now, this is the end of it, but the reason that Joe Ort is out there in open space is because of the play fake. There was a handoff that would be to Joe McCourt going left. Everybody followed him for a step. It really allowed open space for Joe McCourt. Nice ball handling again by Brad Maurer.
Back-to-back first downs by the Leopards. They've moved out to the 28. Here's the end around. They're going to throw it up top. Wide open downfield, and it's going to be broken off. And it might be a penalty flag against Fordham, intended for Travis Hudson. He tried to reach back, and then running right into him was the Fordham defender. And I think this will be against the Rams, Rashard Hicks.
Yeah, the ball was underthrown. It clearly is a defensive penalty. And you're going to take a look at it, Gary. Rashard Hicks does not allow the Lafayette receiver to come back.
On the defense, number 20. 15-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. Automatic first down.
That'll take it to the 13-yard line, and not a very happy sideline right now for Fordham.
No, but the ball was underthrown, and give Travis Hudson credit for coming back hard to that football. Hicks wouldn't let him do it, and you've got to allow him the right to the ball. Hicks never turned around, ran right into Travis, and it's a big first down for the Leopards.
Maurer is on a roll throwing the football as he's completed 5 in a row. That one, of course, was Joe Ort's first attempt at a pass this year. Give it to McCourt, and boy, they are stuffing the holes, and everybody grabbing and reaching, and led by Gaines that time just emotionally, along with Holloway and Stevens and Hicks and
well, essentially,
Leone and Plattenberg, they're all down there.
Well, Gary, essentially what Joe Tricario, the defensive coordinator here for Fordham, and the Fordham defense is saying is that somebody other than Joe McCourt is going to beat us in the second half. So far in this drive, at least, Lafayette has accommodated them. They've kind of used Joe as a decoy to good effect, but that time Fordham stopped Joe McCourt on the inside.
2nd and 10 from the 13. Look at that fake. There goes Brad Maurer. Touchdown, 13 yards.
Well, Gary, we talk about Joe McCourt and the decoy. Look at the maroon shirts gravitate. Well, look at this. Gravitate toward number 43, and Brad Maurer, they're in any Fordham player in the pictures. It's unbelievable. Joe McCourt will not beat us. Frank Tavani says, okay, we got other guys in white shirts out there. Brad Maurer gets it done. A big score early in the second half for the Leopards.
That's touchdown number 6 for Brad Maurer on the season running the football. Again, can Ziska stay perfect? It's up. It's good. There is 9:22 to go on the clock in the 3rd period. And Lafayette with a big, big touchdown. 21-13. You're watching Lafayette football on the Lafayette Sports Network. John, a full dose of Joe McCourt gets you kind of interested in Joe McCourt.
Yeah, you tell me, do you think Fordham is interested in stopping Joe McCourt? Watch the play fake right here and watch the reaction of the maroon shirt. Stop it. Look at these guys. I mean, this is like 43, and it's a, oops, wait a minute, right here. My poor man it's school's out. And our thanks to Brian Ludroff, who points out to us. Brian keeps some stats for us. He does more than that because he points out some pretty interesting issues here. Joe McCourt carried the ball 3 times in that drive. Brian tells us for a total of 2 yards. What that tells you is that the Fordham defense is committed to stopping him, Gary, and Lafayette exploited that commitment on the part of the Fordham defense. They use him as a decoy, work to perfection.
The Ziska kickoff will come down to Perdatko at about the 18-yard line, and he'll get it up to about the 32, where the Rams will put it in play. The Lafayette men's soccer team won today by a 2-0 score over Holy Cross. Both goals scored by Stefan McVeigh. He's a freshman, that young man.
Dennis Bond is doing a great job with that program, Gary. All they do every year is they kind of just win. First time the Rams have recorded 3 straight winning season on the 1AA level, so congratulations to Fordham, but Lafayette's going to do all they can today to make sure this isn't one of those winning games.
Exactly. Want to tack on an L. Frank Tavani has not beaten this ball club, so he's looking for his first win. Back to throw down. Oh, he's going to go down. Oh, he got a whole bunch of Blake Costanzo. Wow, he never saw him coming. Costanzo just swallowed up the sophomore.
Gary, Tristan Martin, number 30, is a running back in a out and up pattern. And the thing is, Derrick Daniels is going to try to pump fake and get Martin deep. But the problem with that kind of play is it takes a long time to develop, and the Lafayette defensive line is affording Derrick Daniels not nearly the time that it would take to run that kind of play.
From the 25, 2nd and 17, Daniels will change the play at the line of scrimmage. Lafayette with their 2nd sack of the game. Back to throw, and that's going to be a good toss. Daniels paid the price after he let go, but there's Porco again to make the catch. He'll grab it at the 39-yard line. That's a gain of 14, still shy of a first down.
Now, there you see Maurice Bennett coming on a blitz, and he gets there a little late, but boy, you know what? You can say what you want about Derrick Daniels. The one thing he's not short on is courage, because Maurice Bennett just waylays him. He stands in there and makes a perfect throw to Porco, and this is a very doable 3rd down now for the Fordham Rams.
It's a big 3rd down for the Rams. 3rd and 3. They'll hand the ball off, and they'll get the first down as putting his head down and just simply following the hole. Sometimes you get a play that's just designed to get you 2, 3, or 4 yards. Perdatko got what he needed. Bennett and Bloom in on the tackle.
Well, on the previous play, as we take a look at Frank Tavani, they were in a position to get the football back again. But, Gary, on the previous play, give credit to the Fordham offense, because both Daniels and Porco knew that they needed to get a big chunk of yardage, not necessarily the first down, but close enough to make the 3rd down reasonable. That's exactly what they did, and they sustained the drive.
So they overcome the 7-yard sack, get the first down, give it again to Perdatko, and Perdatko will get to the 45-yard line, get just a couple on this play before Lafayette's Wes Erb is there to make the tackle.
Yeah, you know, in my apologies, defensive line coach Antoine Smith, I kind of promised him last week that I'd come out to practice and take a look at how they do things. I never got a chance to get out there. I got to tell you, that is a young man with a lot of enthusiasm, and he has brought a new personality to that defensive front. These kids seem to love him. They seem to respond to them, and they are making a huge impact on this game today.
You're just going out to watch practice, right? Not to practice.
I would never get
I'm getting a little concerned about you wanting to get a little too involved. As there's a straight arm that is just run through by Trey Martell. You want to see a tough football play? Watch this one here. Pradatko is tough as he can be running, and Trey Martell is tough as he can be tackling.
Oh, look at this. Trey Martell just stays right with it, and he just kind of hog ties him and brings him down. But, you know, Trey Martell plays an interesting role on this defense. Had a chance to talk to some of the defensive people, Frank Tavani in particular. And Trey Martell has kind of carte blanche out there, Gary. If he reads a certain set on offense, he's free to come on his own on a blitz.
Big third down play. Again, they don't throw it. And again, they get conservative, try to fool the Leopards. There was no fooling Torian Johnson as the ball carrier ran right into him. And they'll put him down and stop Pradatko well shy of the first down. He got no yards.
Yeah, watch Maurice Bennett. First of all, it's lateral quickness. He reads, and when he sees a gap, Gary, he just unloads. And again, I think that's 96 Keith Bloom on the bottom of that pile. But again, we call the name of a down defensive lineman doing a great job in the on the line of scrimmage.
So DeFino will punt the ball away to Lafayette's Brandon Stanford. And Lafayette looks like they're getting antsy to try to block a punt. And they get a pretty good push. Stanford there to collect it. Oh, he almost fumbled it as he got hit immediately by number 20. And that is Rashard Hicks.
You know, we espouse the fact that these kids are student athletes, scholar athletes. I'm presuming they have high board scores. I'm presuming that they use their brains once in a while, unlike the present company here in the booth. What makes you make that kind of decision? I mean, Brandon Stanford, I've walked by him in the Farranon Student Center. He ain't big enough to do that and hold on to the football. What a courageous kid. I'll tell you what, he brings an awful lot of excitement to this football team.
That was a 31-yard punt. Obviously, no return. 1st and 10 from the 24-yard line. Is it McCourt? It is. Joey follows some of those big white shirts who do a little pushing and shoving as he goes right behind Drew Butner before he gets tackled on the play by Marcus Brown. And for Joey, he'll get the ball up to the 27, maybe the 28-yard line. No, we'll call it the 27, a gain of 3. 2nd and 7.
Gary, what that last drive did for the Leopard offense is they planted that seed of doubt in the Fordham defense. Obviously, they're probably still going to key on Joe McCourt, but what they've done is they've established the fact that we can beat you with people other than Joe McCourt, so it may make McCourt's running even more effective.
Maurer back, Maurer looking. Maurer dumps it out here, nice play. Chad Walker, you don't always have to pick up huge yardage to have the success of some forward progress up to the 28 or 29. Greg Whalen is there to make the tackle, and Lafayette's going to be looking at 3rd, and if they mark it at the 29, they're going to be looking at 5, so they only get a couple of yards.
Yeah, and one thing, let's go back to something earlier in the game. Chad Walker, I believe, is in the game, and he's been a favorite target, although they do now go with 3 wideouts. The tight end has been a favorite in this situation, but they do have 3 wideouts in the game.
Big play for the Leopards, 3rd and 5, 4:45 to go, and there goes the running of Brad Maurer. Maurer's going to go 50, 45, 40. 30-yard line, 20, can he get all the way? Brad Maurer, oh my, 71 yards.
What a great call, quarterback draw all the way, a design play, and look at the hole open up. You're going to see 73 up front. Joe McCourt throws a great block. I mean, this is just smash mouth football. Bob Zuhaney and Joe McCourt throw crushing blocks. Brad Maurer, open field, does the rest with his speed, and Lafayette takes a huge 2-touchdown lead.
John, where do you find a quarterback with that kind of speed? For 2 weeks in a row now, he has just run away from secondary people trying to make the tackle. The extra point by Ziska is good. Lafayette 28-13 over Fordham.
Gary, I'll tell you, on the offensive line, we're going to take a look at it. We're going to take a look at it. They had to tell it straight up for me, and they're kidding me because I didn't write. I was too busy watching the play. Stop it right here. Here's 73, Bob Zuhaney, but I want you to watch Joe McCourt right here. This is quarterback draw. Bang, right there. That's the block that does it. On the outside as well is for Lafayette, big number 60. That's Drew Butner, and they just put the wood to the defensive front from Fordham, and Brad Maurer does the rest with his feet. What an exciting play. And now, Gary, I got to tell you, the way the Lafayette defense is playing early in this third quarter is going to be a tough road to hoe for the Fordham football team.
Brad Maurer, the last 2 times he's run the ball, 84 yards, 2 touchdowns. Not bad.
Bad stats.
84
That's
yards,
not a bad average.
2 touchdowns. The last 2 times he's carried. As you get a look at Ed Foley, and he has to be a concerned Ed Foley right now.
Well, you choose your poison, and the good news for Lafayette Leopard fans is, you know, you don't want to be a one-dimensional football team. We've talked about the importance that Joe McCourt plays in the offensive scheme for Lafayette, but, you know, Gary, you can't be one-dimensional, and the fact that he hasn't touched the ball doesn't mean that Joe McCourt doesn't have an impact on this offense, and I think that play illustrated it perfectly.
Lots of time, though. Don't go anywhere, as there's still 4 minutes and 33 seconds to go in the third quarter. Lafayette up by 15. Just a couple of touchdowns. And a potential 2-point conversion, a little chip shot. And they're going to let it bounce. That could be dangerous. That could be dangerous. As falling on it at the 31 or 32-yard line is Pradatko. And that's where Fordham will put it in play, 1st and 10.
Gary, that's a live football. It's a design play, and they almost caught Fordham napping. And that ball was in no man's land. The up people chose to let the back people take it, but it landed dangerously in the middle. And while that ball was on the field, it was dangerous. There's Joe Tricario, and he's trying to figure some things out. There's the defensive coordinator, and he spent a lot of time himself down at Kirby Fieldhouse. Joe, a good friend of ours, and does a great job as the assistant football coach in charge of the defense here at Fordham.
Used to be a Lafayette assistant coach. Donna was ready to have my people call your people. Your people calling people. There's a Jamal Hunt run who gets nailed by Ty Murphy. Well, this Lafayette defense makes you pay the price if you're going to run the ball against them, if you're going to try to catch the ball against them. They have just been outstanding. Defensive coordinator John Luce and Antoine Smith, as John mentioned. You get another look at the play and the hard hit. And, John, how about the play calling of the Mike Faragellis and the offensive line of Bob Hefner and Johnny Troxel and Chris Jones, Josh Carter. You know, Frank Devani, the first to tell you how excellent his assistant coaching staff is.
They've done a great job, and this team is just a hard-nosed football team.
Daniels back. He has a man wide open and drops the ball right to Caffarello. James Caffarello will catch it at the 45-yard line. A penalty flag is down. Roughing the passer is going to tack on another 15 yards.
Yeah, and again, the play took a long time to develop because Caffarello, the big tight end, ran it deep out, and it was a misdirection play. They were late getting to Daniels. We'll listen.
Roughing the passer on the defense, number 36. 15-yard penalty from the end of the play. Carries with an automatic 1st down.
Blake Costanza is called. Second penalty against Lafayette for 24 yards.
Boy, give credit to Daniels because he hangs in there, and I think it wasn't so much the timing of the hit, but the way it was made. I think they might be suggesting that Blake Costanzo let a little too much with his helmet. In any event, it's a great throw by Daniels, and Fordham threatens to answer Lafayette's last touchdown.
Again, this one is far from over. There's lots of time. There's the screen pass. That went for a touchdown, but you have to catch the ball, and Danny Luceno was barreling down on Hunt, and he may have heard some cleats.
Gary, Frank Tavani did not like the matchups between the Fordham outside receivers, their size and their athletic ability, with his cornerbacks. He thought the best way to defend this prolific Fordham passing attack is to make Daniels pay and bring pressure on him. They've done that effectively.
Daniels 12 for 26, 218 yards and a touchdown. Again, they try to get the Leopards moving towards the quarterback. They are not drawn to him. Instead, Luceno and Costanza are drawn towards the running back, and that's Jamal Hunt.
Here's my big boy, Danny Luceno. Go Cleveland. Yeah, boom. That's a bear hug. And I don't even have to make that one up, Danny.
Nice job on the inside. Again, it's the Lafayette defensive front doing a good job. This will be a huge stop, Gary. You know, Fordham needs to answer this offensive barrage, and they need to answer it quickly as we're down to 3 minutes here in the third quarter.
What was with the cheer? Get him a pom-pom.
We are the Lafayette Sports Network.
3rd and 12 on the Cleveland Sports Network. Back to throw, going in towards the end zone, and that's going to be an incomplete pass intended for Mike Melvin. And everybody's kind of holding their breath. Nobody wants to see a yellow hanky. Kazbarowski Johnson down there.
And Lafayette comes on a blitz. There's Costanzo at the top of your screen. And there's Chris Brungro, Drew Brown, Maurice Bennett. A collection of Lafayette defenders in the backfield in Derrick Daniels' face. And he throws it up in the air. Gary, with all that traffic down by the Fordham goal line, I think the two Fordham receivers kind of tripped over one another.
We got a timeout called by the Rams, I believe. Yeah, it is against the Rams. They didn't have enough people out on the field. I don't think they were quite sure what they wanted to do here. They're looking at a 4th and 12 from the 32, down a couple of touchdowns. They may very well want to go for this. We're going to see what the feeling is down on the sidelines. Here's Dan.
All right, Gary, you know we've got two of the top tacklers, not just in the Patriot League here. They do lead them, the Patriot League, #1 and #2, but also in 1AA nationwide. We're talking about Lafayette's Maurice Bennett, who started the week as the #20 tackler in 1AA nationally, and the Quinton Gaines of the Fordham Rams. Let's take a look at some of the action earlier today. So far now, after the prior series, we have Gaines with 6 tackles, all of them assisted. Maurice Bennett, about the same numbers, but maybe a little better. 8 tackles, and of those, 2 of them were solos today. Now, both these guys come in as very prolific tacklers in the league. 11 average per game for Gaines, and Bennett right there at 10.6. The only 2 guys in the Patriot League averaging in double digits. Now back to you.
All right, Dan, you're absolutely right. 2 of the very finest defensive players in the league. Interesting situation here. Benjamin Dato is in to attempt a 49-yard field goal. So this is the guy who kicks off that's going to try to make one here.
This is a fake, Gary. Nope. Short.
Short. Well short.
Should have been.
And Dato pounds his fist on the turf, and Lafayette will get the football. 1st and 10 on the 32-yard line.
Yeah, he knew it as soon as he hit it. He knew there just wasn't enough to it. He kind of caught the ball low and came up well short. Gary, I'm surprised at the call. They're down 15 points. There's plenty of time left. But, you know, somehow, strangely, Fordham seems to have lost its confidence offensively. And I can't quite understand why, because they were moving the ball well in the first half.
They got very conservative on the 2 drives prior to that one, and really kind of gave up an opportunity to get first downs on 3rd down. They just decided to run on plays where they needed lengthy yardage. They give it to Joe McCourt. And of course, Lafayette now will be interested, John, in winding this clock down. Tommy Holloway on the tackle.
Please, Gary, don't confuse me now with the Lehigh Valley legend, Coach Tracy. You can, on the sideline on a basketball court, I'm more than happy. I'm more than happy to take that. I do the telestrator better than Coach Tracy, though, don't I?
Yeah. Whoa.
Is he still take away from the telestrator?
He can't possibly do it.
What a guy!
Just shakes.
One of the great ones, Dick Tracy, and proud to call him a good friend.
2nd and 9 from the 33-yard line. McCourt again. Oh, they are hitting.
That's
down
Gaines.
there.
I think I saw a 6, and you know it's got to be 56.
It is Holloway and Gaines.
Now, he doesn't just tackle. He didn't just tackle you. Let's watch Gaines right here. He didn't just tackle you. I mean, he hits you. Bang. Ouch. I'll tell you, he didn't even get a real clean shot. That's the strength of the guy. And he didn't quite get him with his shoulder pad, but enough strength in that arm to spin Joe McCourt around and make it a 3rd down and long.
Joe McCourt last week, walking off the field after the Bucknell game. John, he was just a wounded warrior. I mean, he just ate everywhere. Maurer back. He's got a man in Stanford. Oh, he's going to run out of bounds before he gets the first down.
He couldn't turn it upfield, Gary. His momentum was heading to the sideline. He couldn't turn it around. Nice delivery, but watch this. Nice wide angle right here. And look at the arm strength. Nice pass. Stop it right now. Here's the marker. And at this point, you kind of think that he can turn it upfield, but he just ran out of real estate and couldn't.
get the extra 3 yards he needed. So Mike Davis will have to punt it away.
For the 5th time, he's averaging 35.5 yards per punt. As Prodotko is back to receive the punt. And it's a beauty. He really connected on this one. Drives Prodotko back to the 16-yard line. And Prodotko running away from a whole bunch of Lafayette Leopards. Watch out! Watch out! Prodotko's still on his feet. Oh my, what a run back. All the way back to the 34-yard line. So John, a 50-yard punt is returned almost all the way back to the line of scrimmage.
And
Wes Herb with a tackle.
Larry Johnson just misses him. I think that's Herb just misses him. And Herb finally tracks him down at the end. If you're Fordham, it goes from disastrous to delightful in a heartbeat. And they've got great field position, knocking on the door. And Gary, a score right here gets them back into the football game, not only in terms of the scoreboard, but more importantly for Fordham, I think psychologically.
1st and 10 from the Lafayette 33-yard line. Give it to Hunt. He's banged at the line of scrimmage and then manages to fall forward. First to hit him was Bennett, and then Blake Costanzo is there to put him down. Bennett had him in the backfield. There'll be a pickup of a couple of yards, 2nd and 8.
Look at Maurice Bennett just fighting off tackles. He slows him up just enough, and then we see 31, Dion Witherspoon, who got off to a great start this year, was slowed by an injury. It's good to see Dion back. He's one of those playmakers from the linebacker spot for the Leopards.
Boy, they have gone to the running game. Jamal Hunt, again, just fights his way back to the line of scrimmage. Andrew Brown and Maurice Bennett there to make the tackle. John, they're in that loose sod area of the field where the turf is all chewed up. No gain on the play.
Nice pursuit by the Leopard defense. And Gary, you're right. They've gone almost exclusively to the run game. And of course, now with 3rd and long, look for them to put it up. And I like the way this team throws the football. So Lafayette seems to be up to the challenge defending the run.
One guy that's been up to the challenge, number 3, Brad Maurer. 6 foot, 195-pound sophomore. 13-yard run. This one's going to take a while. 71 yards, 28-13. Lafayette, 15 minutes to play. Stay with us. We are back. Fordham will put the ball in play here as we start the 4th quarter with a 3rd and 8 from the 31-yard line.
Big play here, Gary. This might be one of those 5 or 6 plays you talk about in a football game.
Lafayette is not coming. They're going to play the pass. They drop back. Hand the ball off again. Prodotko will get to the 25-yard line. John, you and I both a little mystified about why they've gone away from the pass game. Bloom and Herb on the tackle.
Gary, football is a game of inches, and not only do they go to the run, they don't execute because Prodotko and Daniels run into each other, and it's just that half step that you lose, your inability to hit the hole hard. Lafayette stops them short, Gary. 4th down and 2, huge play.
They came in converting 41% of their 4th down plays. This is their first one today. From the 25, they have to get to the 23. Here's the pitch. Prodotko to the outside, and he won't get it. Oh, my. A fumble, though. They're not going to allow the forward fumble. Oh, what a great defensive play for Lafayette by Kazmarowski.
It was Kazmarowski, but it was 31, Larry Johnson, who makes the play happen, Gary. Watch 31 right here. He takes out the interference. There's nobody left to block. And now, here comes Kazmarowski. He's got a free lane to make the play thanks to Larry Johnson, who came up in run support. He read it quickly, he read it early, and he was absolutely explosive in taking out the Fordham interference.
John, they needed 2, they got 1. What a great defensive play by Kazmarowski. Lafayette from the 24, Maurer rolling and looking. He'll just simply pop it upfield to Chad Walker. Chad will go out of bounds. As he'll go out about the 29-yard line, Greg Whalen makes the tackle, and that would be a gain of about 5 yards. If that's where they mark it, it is.
Gary, that play illustrated one thing very, very clearly. Frank Tavani early in the season talked about the maturation process of Brad Maurer. He was rolling the pocket. He made a great decision. His decision-making process has improved game after game after game, and it's one of the reasons why Frank Tavani has allowed him to play the full 60 minutes.
2nd and 5 for the Leopards. Maurer back, quarterback draw. Maurer cuts to the outside. First down and more. Brad Maurer again down the sideline to the 45-yard line. That's a gain of 16 yards.
Yeah, and again, it's the offensive front. Here's Bono making a block. Rob Strobel, look at the center, just clearing people out. And among the huge bodies is little old Brad Maurer picking his way through the forest out into the open space. Gary, got to tell you, can't say enough about the Lafayette offensive line and the offensive coordinator, Mike Ferragalli. He's come away from Joe McCourt, and he has found a soft spot in the Fordham run defense.
Maurer with 101 yards rushing. Maurer again, look how much running room he has. And again, he'll cut it to the outside. And he'll get good positive yardage. Lafayette now over 200 yards rushing the ball. Patrick Ora makes the defensive play. They'll mark it at the 49, a gain of 6.
Well, Gary, the scoring drive that resulted in Lafayette's 3rd touchdown, not the 4th one, but the 3rd touchdown, was really the one that planted the seed of doubt in the Fordham defense. They came in with a clear game plan that they were going to stop Joe McCourt. When Lafayette found another way to attack them, now what do? And Lafayette has effectively kept the Fordham Ram defense off balance.
From the 49-yard line, 2nd and 4. Jonathan Hurt is in the backfield. They give it instead to Brendan Green, and he'll get, well, did he get the first down? It depends where they mark his forward progress. John, it looked like he was going to get it rather easily, and then all of a sudden nobody would let him fall down. Greg Whalen makes the hit along with Tommy Stevens and Gaines.
Yeah, it got to a point where it was the irresistible force against the immovable object. I don't know, how does that one go? But you'll see it. Nice hard running, down nice and low by Brendan Green. And right here is what you're talking about. And you just got like a rugby scrum down there. But it'll be 3rd down and inches, and the clock continues to run. That, of course, favors the Leopards, and look for something pretty powerful right now. Will it be the way that offensive line is playing? It might be Brad Maurer.
Well, they like to go over Strobel usually in this situation with Brad Maurer. There is Maurer. Ooh, I don't know. Yeah, it looks like they gave it to him.
Yeah.
He goes over on Grady and also Strobel, and it looked like the official on the far side, or our near side, came running in and gave him what he needed.
Well, you know, we talked about the personality of the defensive line. You know, that personality takes effect on the offensive side of the ball, too, and it's a collective personality, Gary. It's 5 guys that take an awful lot of pride in being able to push the defense off the line of scrimmage and getting those hard-earned yards between the tackles.
And again, Lafayette keeps the ball and keeps the clock running. Looking for a decisive touchdown here that would really wrap things up for the Leopards. And hustling out of bounds, chasing him was Marcus Taylor, as Brad Maurer will pick up 5 yards. He ran about 40 to get 5.
Yeah, you know, Brad Maurer has got to be in shape. I got to tell you. I mean, what would we be doing? He's running sideline to sideline, play in and play out, and he's just picking up speed. Everybody else seems to be slowing down, and Brad Maurer is just getting warmed up as we take a look at some of the Lafayette faithful who have made the trip into the Bronx. And well, I'll tell you what, nothing beats winning, does it, Gary?
Boy, you've got that right. There's been an air of excitement about this ball club since the first week, and they just keep rolling along, and right now playing solid football. They may not want a bye week, as again, it's Maurer trying to scramble for the first down. He'll pick up 4. He needed 5. Jay Edwards is there to make the tackle.
Well, go figure. Brad Maurer's about 5'11". That might be a program height. That's stretching it. What do they list him at, 180, 185? And he is single-handedly wearing out all those big dogs down there on the Fordham side of the football. They just can't stomp on him. They can't catch him. And he is really taking this game over. And
sometimes I think his 185, John, or 195 is his IQ.
Yeah.
He is a very intelligent young man. He's a marquee scholar and just an exceptional kid out of Ohio. Maurer back to throw on a 3rd and 1 and drops it out here for a first down. What a play. David Nelson is there to make the catch at the 29. Talk about confidence in your quarterback. Greg Whalen makes the tackle. That's going to be a first down on a gain of 7.
Gary, what I want to show you here, stop it now. This is a two-step drop, 1-2. Now watch the laser shot that this is, and as Nelson catches it, stop. He catches it on his outside shoulder and never has to break stride. It's a subtlety. Brad Maurer made that play look a whole lot easier than it really was.
John, he's completed 9 consecutive passes. Maurer again. Maurer again. He's got a lot of white shirts in front of him. And Maurer will stay in bounds as he'll get the ball down to about the 10 or 11-yard line or so. Tommy Stevens with the tackle. John, that's a pickup of another 18 yards.
Watch Brendan Green downfield. Again, good job by the offensive line, but watch number 30 down here, blocking right here. All he has to do is get in the way. We missed it earlier on. There's another block downfield. I'm not sure who that was, but boy, that was Chad Walker from his tight end position. Gary, this offense hitting on all cylinders right now. Curiously, Joe McCourt hasn't touched the ball in about 10 minutes.
Do you notice the theme, though, every week? How Lafayette just seems to wear the opponents down in the fourth quarter. There's Jonathan Hurt. He'll go outside. He'll cut up inside. He just wants to keep the clock rolling and keep that yardage moving forward. He'll get down to the 6, a gain of 5. Taylor Ackerman on the tackle.
Gary, winning is contagious, and creating a winning atmosphere is contagious. We've seen Jonathan Hurt injured. Joe McCourt steps in. It really is really leadership by example, because Joe McCourt, we've talked about the numbers he's put up throughout his Lafayette career. Every time you talk to the kid, the only thing he's interested in is the team, and he's interested in winning a championship. And I'm telling you, it might have been a pipe dream at the beginning of the season. It's very much a reality right now.
McCourt back in. Joey's going to get the ball. Joey trying to add to his scoring record. Oh my goodness. Did you see the block thrown in the secondary in the end zone? I don't know whether that was on camera, but if you can, watch the block thrown 2 yards into the end zone.
Upper part of your screen.
There on Tad Cornegay. Down to the 2-yard line, 3rd and 1 on the gain of 3.
The air of confidence that surrounds this football team right now, Gary, is immeasurable. You can just feel it.
And it's all aspects, John. Special teams, defense, offense. Every one of them playing well. Joe McCourt, did he get in? Everybody says he did. Joe McCourt with a 3-yard touchdown. Joey's second of the day.
Well, justice is served right here, because Joe McCourt has been such a catalyst. Watch Rob Strobel, number 78, right here, just clear out the pathway, and Joe McCourt splits it. You can't arm tackle him, and by the time the offensive line, Gary, does its job, that's all that's left, is an ability to maybe stop him with an arm tackle, and you can't do it.
The record keeps getting bigger. 272 career points for Joe McCourt. Ziska trying to kick another one. That is up, that is good. He stays perfect. 5 for 5 today. Lafayette 35 and Fordham 13. Come on back. We are back, and Lafayette is teeing it up again, and that's a good sign. 35-13. Rich Ziska will kick it off.
Gary, what a third quarter offensive explosion carrying over into the first 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. Lafayette opens up a huge 35-13 lead.
And John, we often say, John, how teams kind of feed off of one another. That great defensive play, Kazmarowski, the great defensive play by Johnson to come up and cut down the blocking in front of him, and then the Lafayette offense goes 76 yards in 12 plays. One team feeding on another, and here we get a look at Chad Walker making a tackle. Brad Maurer today, this is running the ball. 135 yards on 14 carries and 2 touchdowns.
Well, he has been a one-man offensive explosion, doing the job mainly with his feet. But Gary, he's made great decisions, and I think that's the thing that Frank Devaney will underscore. On that kickoff, it was Chad Hunter, number 12, who made the shoestring tackle. Too many Chads out there. We got some hanging Chads.
Too many hanging Chads.
But Chad Hunter wasn't hanging around that time. He made a great play and prevented a big play.
From the 32-yard line, all they can do now is put this ball up, and getting buried again is Derrick Daniels by Maurice Bennett. And Derrick is very slow. Well, he's not even going to get up. He is shaken up.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll get it on the replay, but all day long, he has had Lafayette Leopard defenders in his face. There you see the toughness. Here's Maurice Bennett, and you know, Gary, it's not roughing the passer if the referee feels that the defender cannot hold up. And Maurice Bennett was just too close to Derrick Daniels that time to stop his momentum, and Derrick Daniels has got to suck it up and take the hit. He is out now. There is a quarterback in the game now. It's
number 18, Matthew Fulham. Fulham 0 for 0 this year throwing the football, so he's seen a little bit of action, but not very much. And we'll see his first action in this ball game. And Lafayette has been none too friendly with quarterbacks this season, and they have to keep putting it up. He will get nailed on his first play again by Maurice Bennett, but he does complete the pass. It'll be a gain up to about the 38-yard line. It'll be a pickup of about 5 or 6. Johnson, and Costanzo. Not a law firm, but
no. That's right, but a personal injury firm possibly, but they're delivering the injuries. Larry Johnson and Torian Johnson give Looney plenty of room, and at this point of the game, Gary, with a 21-point lead, 22-point lead, that's exactly what they're supposed to do.
That pass is going to be just off the fingertips of Jamal Hunt, and I think Fordham's probably going to have to go for it. No, they're not. They're going to. I mean, they are going to go for it here. John, we have a final out-of-town score brought to you by Easton Coach. This is a football score. Iowa 6, Penn State 4, a final. Iowa 6, Penn State 4.
6-4.
John, they did not go extra innings.
Yeah, Ricky O in the truck is saying how many guys were left on base. You know, Gary, 6-4. Now I wonder how many football games have ever ended in a 6-4 score. Daniels back in.
He's not going to get the first down. Lafayette, John Luce, the defensive coordinator, is over there just pumping his fist on the sideline as he watches his D come up big again, as it's Marvin Snipes, Blake Costanzo, as they're all over the quarterback.
I'll tell you what, this has turned into the Lafayette Leopards' own version of the Bronx Zoo, and there are some Leopards running wild, especially on the defensive side of the football. We just see a host of Lafayette defenders converge on the football. It does look as if Lafayette is going to salt away their 6th win.
Derrick Daniels was back in the ball game to run that last play. Lafayette now, they're just worried about running the clock. 8:14. Hand it off. Right up the gut.
Brendan Green, number 30, between the tackles. And
I don't think that is Green.
Or is that David Nelson?
Yeah, I think it is Nelson. Yeah, it is.
You know, Gary, it just underscores another fact that we've kind of talked about is the quality depth that Frank Tavani has developed on this football team. You talked about the fact that in the 4th quarter, Lafayette seems to wear down its opponents. And I don't think you can do that effectively unless you've got not just depth, but quality depth. When they make their substitutions, there's not a big drop-off in performance.
2nd and 7. Still 8.5 minutes and change left to go in the game. Green the up back this time. There's McCourt. Joey fumbled the ball. It's still up in the air. I think Fordham came up with it. It looked like Luandis had a shot at it, but I believe Fordham was the first one to get on the football. Well, they're still doing some shoving and punching down there. Fordham's going to come up with the football. The ball just popped out of Joey's hands as he popped through the line of scrimmage, and then Jay Edwards falls on the fumble.
Well, Gary, I'm looking upwards because the sky is falling. One of the most uncharacteristic plays that you'll see all season long. And you know what, Joe McCourt, we've seen him hit much harder than that without coughing up the football. Kind of a strange kind of play. The ball started slipping out of his hands, and a Fordham defender kind of reaches in to jar it loose. It wasn't a hard hit by any stretch. Joe McCourt just lost the handle, and Fordham gets a turnover.
From the 34-yard line, the Rams will put it in play. Daniels is back. Boy, he throws a bullet, doesn't he? Rashawn Hawkins can't hang on. And that has to hurt just trying to catch that ball.
Yeah, and I tell you, he throws it to a great spot. Hawkins is right there. I'm sorry, Haynes, on just a little deep curl. Look at the velocity on this football, and he just threads it between Costanzo and Maurice Bennett. A well-thrown football, but again, Haynes can't hold on. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
He's 0 for his last 4. Daniels 12 for 30 with an interception for 218 yards. Drops this one out smartly to Rashawn Haynes. That was a nice out pattern. Stops the clock. Ty Murphy. And I think, John, he's going to be just about a half a step shy of a 1st down.
Gary, Torian Johnson comes on a safety blitz. You see him right there, and that leaves Larry Johnson all alone. I'm sorry, Ty Murphy all alone out there to defend against Haynes. So Lafayette plays the chess game, brings some pressure, and it results in a 3rd down and very short for Fordham.
Quarterback sneak will warrant a 1st down signal by the referee as they needed less than a yard, and he certainly got that with his forward motion. They have, John, only 71 yards on the ground rushing the ball against this Lafayette defense today. They have garnered about 233 yards in the air.
Yeah, they have, Gary, and a lot of that came, of course, on that a couple of big plays. We are going to measure, Gary. Lafayette's defensive front got great penetration, and so the spot is such that it's going to be very, very close.
John, I get a little nervous this time of the year when I see seagulls flying, because the last time was when we were at Holy Cross last year, and those darn seagulls were flying backwards,
making no headway.
Well, a wind chill factor of a -40, I think.
Yeah, it was like they were doing a backstroke. But they were trying to go forward.
Get these birds out of here. Get to Colgate. That's where we're headed in a couple of weeks. Well, John, you know, you often talk about a bye week as coming just at the right time, where you can get your bumps and bruises kind of healed up, and you can spend a couple of weeks getting ready for an opponent. But I don't know. The Leopards are playing so well, you might not want that bye week. That's going to be an incomplete pass.
Gary, you know, we talked about some of the student help that Lafayette employs around campus. There are student trainers. We talked to one at halftime. Right over to our left is the Lafayette student film crew. And the young lady, very astutely, I think, as we see the ball skip off the turf, that's incomplete, turned to us and said, and I thought very astutely, do you think the bye week will hurt us? And it's a very, very pointed question. Daniels pump fake with nobody to go to. Still nobody to go to. Off his back foot. Oh, wow. My. That's Antoine Smith making that catch. Guarantee it. And not bad for a defensive line coach. Yeah, well, watch how Larry Johnson it sets up the potential receiver, Prodotko. Watch this. Bang. Break up that play. That's one-handed, too. Good job there, Antoine, my Syracuse buddy. Better hands than head coach Frank Tavani showed last week. Frank took a lot of ribbing this week about his victory dance. He's a good-natured Frank Tavani, though. He can roll with the punches. And rolling around Derrick Daniels is Drew Brown. He's had himself quite a ball game. An interception, a fumble recovery touchdown, and another sack. Well, you can bet me that good old young Derrick Daniels, as he is spun to the ground, none too politely by Andrew Brown, is going to be heading straight for the whirlpool right after this game. And I'll probably a whole bottle of Tylenol. My young man has really taken his hits today, and by design, Frank Tavani said we've got to get pressure on Derrick Daniels. So Fordham, looking at a 4th and 19, is going to punt it away. End over end. And Brandon Stanford immediately calls a fair catch as Frank Tavani says we're not taking any chances. They'll mark it at the 25, 40-yard punt. We're going to call timeout. The Leopards are in complete command. 7:08 to go in this ball game. They're looking to go to 6-2 and 3-0 in the Patriot League. You're watching Lafayette football on the Lafayette Sports Network. Welcome back. Lafayette 1st and 10 from the 25. You know, while Lafayette's sitting out next week, Colgate's going to be taking on Lehigh, John. So one of those two teams will have a loss, as both of them appear that they're going to be undefeated at the end of this weekend's. Look at this. You know, this has been going on all game. That's Lafayette wideout, 88, Ramar Drake. and he got tangled up on the outside, and that's been a little kind of feud going on all game long.
He's been one of your buddies since the spring game, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, I saw him, and I'll tell you, I saw 88 and I saw 84 Travis Hudson, and I said, you know what? Frank Tavani has done a good job replacing those wideouts. Ramar Drake is a feisty young fella. He's going to be around. He's got good size and good speed, good hands for a wideout.
McCourt gets a couple. The up back will get it and not get very much yardage. Brendan Green, I don't think we'll get any yardage. He's going to be stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Patrick Ora makes the tackle.
Now, 3rd down and long, Gary, 6 minutes and counting. Lafayette comfortably in front. They're not going to put the ball up in the air here, but you can bet me that they're going to roll that pocket, try to get Brad Maurer out, because if they can get a 1st down, as we take a look at what a very significant defensive fact, Lafayette has held the opposition to 16 points or fewer in each of its 5 victories. So when the defense comes to play, good things happen.
3rd and 8 from the 27.
Some sort of rollout, I gotta believe. Nope, Joe McCourt.
And he runs right into big 92, Edward Gordon, who will put him down. And Joey will not get any yardage either, no gain. Adam Ackerman also in on that hit.
So you're right, Gary. The Colgate-Lehigh matchup next weekend puts one of those 2 preseason favorites behind the 8 ball, and it's nice on College Hill to be sitting on top watching those 2 guys battle it out.
Well, one of them will come into the Lafayette game that week 3-0, same as Lafayette. So they'll be tied with either Lehigh or Colgate. And if it's Colgate, that will certainly be for the outright Patriot League lead. Lafayette will have it another week. They've played 1 extra game than everybody else in the Patriot League. And not the easiest catch in the world by Perdatko, and he'll go down. Virtually no yardage on the return as the punt covers 40 yards. Larry Johnson on the tackle.
Nice coverage by Lafayette, Gary, and you can bet now that
that guy's a football player, huh, John?
Oh, yeah.
Larry Johnson.
Oh, great speed, fearlessness. He's got the perfect temperament, Gary, and the perfect skill set to play his position, and that is cornerback. Those cornerbacks got to have short memories and incredible toughness.
4:44 to go in the game. They throw underneath, little wide receiver screen to Rashawn Haynes. And Rashawn will get tackled. Jamal Hunt had danced his way for a 75-yard touchdown, and Haynes looked like he wanted to duplicate that. Johnson and Costanzo are there to make the tackle. Just a gain of 5.
Yeah, things closed down in a hurry. Lafayette now playing a little softer defensively, Gary. There's 3 down linemen, and they did come with a blitz again, trying to contain Davis.
I thought we'd see a little bit more of Daniels running the football. Nice tackle by Justin Stovall. It looks like he's got the kind of quick feet you like in a quarterback. That's going to be a gain of 6 on the run.
Well, he's got all the tools. He's got quick feet, and he's got a strong arm, and he's got a stable of real good receivers. But I tell you, Gary, they ran into a defensive buzzsaw today. The Lafayette defense was just up to the challenge. And then when the offensive adjustments were made, clearly Fordham totally committing to stopping Joe McCourt. How about Brad Maurer taking this game over as we take a look at the defensive brains trust? That's John Luce, and there's one proud young coach there talking to his defensive charges.
John, as we look at the schedule next week, Bucknell is at Holy Cross. As we said, Colgate is at Lehigh. Fordham will take on Georgetown at home. Lafayette, of course, with the bye week. So everybody in Patriot League action except Lafayette. We'll have our Pepsi player, and in fact, we know we're going to have our Pepsi players of the game following today's broadcast. Certainly on the offensive side, who better than Brad Maurer, who put together unbelievable numbers rushing the football, 135 yards rushing on and 2 touchdowns. And Andrew Drew Brown will be our defensive Pepsi player of the game, and we'll be chatting with them. Dan Mowdy will be in about 4 minutes and 9 seconds. 1st and 10 from the 48-yard line, both teams with a couple of timeouts left. Daniels wants to heave one downfield.
Porco.
Just beyond the outstretched hands of Steve Porco. Those two guys have been trying to link up all day for a big one. Torian Johnson with the coverage.
Yeah, I don't know what you call this, but in the playground, we used to draw a line in the dirt and say, just go, you go that way, and I'll throw it as far as I can, and you run as far as you can, and we'll see what happens right off Porco's fingertips. Gary, you know what? We talked early on in the season, and of course early on in this broadcast, about Lafayette's ability to stay focused. Frank Tavani said it as a goal, one goal at a time. They've done such a great job of staying focused on each game. As an individual goal, one game at a time, and it's brought them to this point.
That one is going to be complete to Porco over the middle. Stovall will make the tackle at the 43-yard line. That's a gain of 9.
Fordham goes hurry up.
They need a yard here for a first down. John, that play on my playground was go long. Fumble on the play. Daniels picks it up, and he gets ridden down. I mean, literally ridden down by Trey Martell. He just jumps on that guy, and he forgot to saddle him up.
That's exactly right, but boy, give this young fella credit. Derrick Daniels, I mean, he's got to pick that ball up in a sea of white shirts, and here's Martell riding him. But how about the toughness of Derrick Daniels? He very nearly picks up the first down. I think they're going to measure for it. Gary, again, getting back to my point about Lafayette's focus game in and game out, the thing that's significant about it is it's easier to lose that focus the deeper you get into the season, especially when you're having success. It's so easy to start scoreboard watching and wondering, what if we win this one? We're getting closer to our overall goal. Early on in the season, easier to do it. Later in the season, more difficult. Give Lafayette credit, especially the coaching staff, for keeping this team on task.
One goal at a time. Frank has said it every single week in the press conference. Even if you lose, you move on to the next goal. There are 2 losses this year. Lafayette lost to Princeton, 35-18. That was flood day, and probably a lot of other things on the minds of the kids. Princeton with a very good football team, however. I don't want to take anything away from that victory. And Harvard came to Lafayette and won 38-23. That, too, a very talented football team. Here we go, 4th and less than a yard for Fordham. And they won't. I think they will. The second effort down there will get them the first down. That was Jonte Coven. Witherspoon with a tackle.
Gary, Coven was stopped in the backfield for no gain, and you're absolutely right. It was his second effort. He just kept the legs churning. Now, right here, Deion Witherspoon has him stopped, but the help doesn't get there in time, and he just lunges forward. They're going to measure again, but all he needed was about 18 inches, so we'll see what the spot says.
5 of Fordham's 6 games coming into this one have been decided by 7 points or less. That won't be the case today. 3 of their 5 games featured a game-winning or game-tying score in the final 90 seconds.
And now there is some confusion with the chain because
I think John, they made this by about a half of football, and down there they made it by 2 yards.
Yeah.
The chains on the sideline.
They're going to reset the chains.
Yeah,
coach.
Yeah, see, Gary, what happens is there's a clip on the chain. And they mark it at a
spot
at a yard line. Well, it's at one of the chalk marks, and the clip slipped. So the clip slipped. It did, and so it really threw off the 10-yard marker.
Don't head coaches, John, especially when they're down.
Oh,
they haven't had a very good day.
No, they're
and then the officials make this one mistake.
This poor guy.
And then you get the referee over, just like Ed Foley's doing right now.
That's right.
And I'll tell you right now, this is not a nice conversation.
No, it's not.
It's just not.
Poor Ed Foley. He needs a hug. He's not going to get one from the guy in a white shirt, in a white hat.
The officials are still having clip problems.
I've never seen that happen.
I have not either. All the years I've done games.
See, in this, Rick Keogh is on his game today. He's in the truck asking if this would be a clipping penalty. It is a clip penalty.
Against the officials.
Against the officials, but not a clipping penalty.
And now Frank can't go without getting a couple of points in himself.
Oh, he's got to do it. He's got to get his 2 cents in.
Yeah.
Oh, but see how agreeable Frank is? What
Well,
a
sure.
nice guy.
He's 35-13. He's agreeable. Here comes the new. John, they have reclipped. All of this, because, and we already know they have. Now, if they don't get a first down here,
After all this,
Ed Foley's going to go crazy.
He's going to go right through the roof.
Because we know they have a first down.
Well, stretch the darn thing, for crying out loud. It's cold up here.
And it's kind of a meaningless first down.
Well,
Yeah,
in the whole scheme of things, let's be real. Well, it could be 14-13, and then we'd be.
John, I'm getting the feeling the crowd is just as chilly as we are. They're getting a little irate. The crowd has turned on the men in black and white.
You know what, though? Has Lafayette been involved in a game as we take a look at referees? Now, what are they talking about here? This is like one of those Snickers commercials. Need to get away? These poor guys. But has Lafayette been involved in any games this year where some controversy or some interesting aspect hasn't followed them?
I mean, every game we have something that becomes, John, kind of a teaching point for the officials. They always get our tapes so they can look at and discuss these in meetings.
Okay, here's the clip, and this is the point in question. We have been reduced to telestrating the clip on the chain.
And just as we said,
first down. It isn't. It's Lafayette ball.
My goodness. No. He got it by about
he
a
did
half a
get it.
yard.
All right,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we're going this way. Good deal. All right.
All right, that's our first telestration of a clip. The clip.
We saw the clip.
We need a bye week, John.
Oh, desperately.
And John, up on the screen here, they give Jonte Coven a 15-yard run.
They do. Gary, the question is, will the bye week help us or hurt us? I don't know. I know it'll help our viewers.
Yeah, it's really going to help our listeners.
Frank. Oh, boy. Bob Hefner and Frank Devine. Now we're going to get an explanation. I can't wait for this.
Well, I'll tell you what we're getting in trouble with the satellite.
Oh.
Satellite time to 4:30, and this ball game refuses to come to an end.
Here we go.
Wow. Daniels is going to get hit again. Oh, yeah. And is that going to be a touchdown? Yeah, that's a touchdown. 42 yards. Rashawn Haynes from Derrick Daniels. They finally, John, link up.
Well, Torian Johnson had a beat on it. He's kind of kicking himself because he jumps too soon. And look at the arm strength. How about Derrick Daniels just whirling dervishes it into the hands of Rashawn Haynes. And watch Torian Johnson right here just kind of mistimes his jump. Kazmarowski can't get over in time, and it goes for a big score. After all of our clip issues, Fordham turns it into 6.
14th touchdown pass of the year by Daniels, 2 today. For Haynes, that's his second touchdown catch of the season. Kluke's extra point is good, and that makes it 35-19, or to 20.
You know, Gary, interesting point here. I mean, that confusion with the chain resulted in about a 5-minute timeout. And you just wonder how that affects the Lafayette defense, who is on a roll, bringing pressure, running around the football field. I mean, in basketball, you call a timeout, and you change the feel of the game. You change the momentum. I think that might have happened to the Lafayette defense to take nothing away from Derrick Daniels and Rashawn Haynes, who turned into a great play. But, you know, you wonder if you're Frank Devine on the sideline and you're hitting on all 6 cylinders, you want to keep going.
Look at these guys. They're probably happy they didn't put a lot of points on the board.
I always question.
Wow.
I always question why cheerleaders bring that upon themselves. They're cheering for points and forcing themselves into corporal punishment.
The Lafayette Leopards back in 92 and 94. The last time Lafayette started 2-0 in the Patriot League was 2002. It's only, today was the 4th time they started 2-0 since 1990. So we're trying to figure out the last time they started 3-0 in the Patriot League. Don't know if we'll Able to find that number or not.
Fordham lining up, Gary, as if they will attempt an onside kick. No secret here. And they're going to try to bounce this high. They're going to try to bounce this high, Gary, pluck it out of the air. It's kind of a new mode.
Looks like 1994 was the last time they started 3-0. Lafayette will collect with their all-hands people up front, and that is number 84, and that's a hands guy, Travis Hudson.
Yeah, nice job by Hudson. I'll tell you, that ball's coming at him pretty hard, and he gets a nice bounce and sure-handed, gathers it in, covers it up, and with just under 3 minutes left, Lafayette stands to tack up their 6th win of the season, Gary.
First and 10 from the 45, and Lafayette just saying, get me back in the locker room. Let's put the W up here and get out of here. Here goes Brad. And look at Brad, making sure he doesn't run out of bounds. And he'll get a yard for all of that. Ed Gordon on the tackle.
Ed Gordon on the tackle.
Yeah, and you know, Gary, this is Brad Maurer. Stop it right now. He knows there's the danger. He doesn't want to go this way. He sees the sideline, and now he stops. Now watch him just kind of lay down right here, keep the clock running. These are the kinds of decisions the young sophomore is beginning to make. He's getting a good feel for the game. And I got to tell you, when you get him out in open space now, Gary, with a 15-point lead and only 2 minutes left, Frank Tavani's got to be worried about the health of that young guy. So, you know, don't take any crazy chances here. Let's just run the ball hard, stay solid, and get out of here.
It's McCord. That's running the ball hard. That's staying solid. That's Punt bouncing off it. Oh, he was one guy away. One guy away from going into the end zone. It gets down to the 25. That's a 19-yard gain, John. I think that gives him 100 yards rushing.
How close are we? That was my question.
I think it's right at 100.
And again, watch the offensive line, Gary, just bury people. No room, no way to arm tackle this guy, and he just pounds the ball upfield, hitting people left and right. How many tackles does he break? He just runs over people like a Brahma bull. Joe McCourt, does he have the 100?
He does, right at 100 yards for the 21st time as a Leopard. Now he's got to make sure he doesn't lose any yardage here. And Joey will do it again. It's Brendan Green. And Green is going to step up inside the 20 to the 19, 18-yard line. Again, a 7.
And again, the game kind of winds down, Gary, in appropriate fashion as the Lafayette offensive line just blows Fordham off the ball, and the running game continues to chew off huge chunks of yardage.
Well, it looks like Fordham's not interested in stopping the clock, so Lafayette may very well start taking a knee here. So we'll see whether or not Lafayette just does take the knee.
Well, they're not lined up for it. I think they're going to give Joe McCourt one more crack at it. Nope.
That would be David Nelson, the ball carrier, and they're going to move the chain, so that stops the clock.
And now I think they will, Gary. That's
Ed Gordon on the tackle.
Yeah, it is a first down, and at this point,
Fordham takes a timeout.
Second charge timeout of the second half.
Now that's curious. 48 seconds left, down 15. Ed Foley has done a good job here replacing Dave Clausen. We talked about the losses to graduation that he's had to overcome. He's played a tough schedule. And Gary, they played some very close games. On the one hand, they're very close to being 6-0 or 5-0 in their own right. And again, they've played a very competitive schedule and played very well.
They have Georgetown next week. And then they go to Bucknell, go to Lehigh, and play Colgate here. So they have no easy road to hoe.
No way. When you've got Colgate and Lehigh left on your schedule, and Lafayette knows that as well as anyone, because those two schools loom in their future as well. Plus, you know, Gary, late in the season, cold weather up in Worcester, Massachusetts, that trip to Holy Cross is never a fun one. So
you think?
It'll be important. Yeah, I don't think so.
Talking to the choir, John.
Well, I know, but I'm talking about from a football perspective, not a broadcasting perspective. And don't you love the press box? You know, with all due respect to our good friends at Holy Cross, that's the most interesting press box I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I wouldn't use the word interesting, but we're on TV.
Well, things get very friendly up there, to say the least.
All right, 3rd down for Lafayette. They say 2 on the scoreboard. It's closer to just a yard. Turn around, give it to McCourt. Look at him dive forward. He's got the 1st down.
Yeah, nice job by Joey, and there's no question now that he's over 100 yards, and Fordham takes its final timeout. I do believe, unless they're just stopping it for the 1st down.
They do have to move. Well, first of all, they have to check and see if the clip is right.
Do I detect an air of cynicism there, Gary?
That wasn't an error. That was outright cynicism.
Outright cynicism.
First and 10 from the 15. Clock running, 30 seconds.
This chain gang might find themselves on a chain gang after today's performance.
Take a knee and put this one in the record book. It'll be a Lafayette W. They're going to win this ball game by a 35-20 score, as the Leopards are going to go to 6-2, 3-0 in the Patriot League. Oh, what a good victory. And John, another extremely impressive second half of football for the Lafayette Leopards.
Gary, it says a lot about a team's personality as we take a look at Frank Tavani walk across field to congratulate Ed Foley, his counterpart at Fordham. When you come out of the locker room and you've taken your instruction and you've taken your direction and you respond the way this Lafayette Leopard football team has responded, it says an awful lot about your leadership and your team personality. And Frank Tavani has got to be very proud of not only his players, Gary, but his coaching staff for being focused, directed, and putting on a clinic here in the second half in the Bronx.
We will talk to the Pepsi's players of the game when we come back. What a day for quarterback Brad Maurer. 15 rushes, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns, 12 for 15, throwing for 90 yards. And how about Drew Brown? Touchdown, fumble recovery, interception, a couple of sacks. Our Pepsi players of the game when we come back. We are back. We welcome you back. As always, Frank Tavani has gathered his team together, and I'm sure he's telling them what a great ball game his ball club played today. Some impressive numbers. Joe McCourt, 103 yards rushing as he goes for his 21st 100-yard rushing game, making his 24th. Fourth in a row, I'm sorry. His 4th in a row. It is his 21st. He went over 4,000 yards rushing today. He had a couple of touchdowns, 41 of those. That's first. And he adds another 12 points for 272 points. That puts him at number 1 also. And did he catch any balls today? Joe McCourt had a couple of catches, so he now has 129 catches in his career. Brad Maurer, as we already indicated to you, just a great football game. And John, but it's everybody. It's the special teams, it's the defense, it's the offense, it's everybody.
Yeah, I'm reminded of that great line from the Rocky movie when Mick tells Rocky, you know, you do this and you do that and you're going to become a very dangerous poison. And I think that what's happened to Lafayette right here is they're becoming a very dangerous football team. As this season has grown on, Gary, they have built in confidence. We take a look at Frank Tavani. You can see the intensity. They've got to manage this bye week. I think it's critical, Gary. This team is on an emotional high that's difficult to sustain, and you don't know if the bye week will help them or hurt them. That guy's going to do all he can to make sure the bye week helps them. But going in to the bye week, they come back with Colgate, which will be one of the biggest games in Lafayette football in recent memory.
And John, you know, Colgate, you've got to go through Colgate to win the title. They're the defending champion. They're the runner-up in the national championship last year. They're playing very good football. They have not, at least when you look at their scores and their ball games, they have not been quite as impressive as they were last year, but they are without question a very good football team. Frank Tavani is making the long run over to Dan Mounty, and it's going to be a happy coach down there as his ball club's played very well. Here's Dan.
All right, Gary, well, when last we talked to head coach Frank Tavani, it was, first of all, 14-0. Then at halftime, 14-13. Tenuous at that point, Frank. I got to know, what'd you tell these guys at halftime?
Hey, we just keep going with the pride, the purpose, and the passion. This is a heck of a group of young men, and they kept fighting out there. And, hey, they believed in themselves, and they kept going. It didn't matter. We came out. We wanted to get a stop after the first kickoff. Kids did a heck of a job out there. We had to execute better offensively like we talked about at halftime. We made some adjustments in there. Our coaches are doing a great job, and the kids came out and just played their butts off.
First half, the passing game got established early. Joe McCourt with 66 first half yards. You guys came out as a different football team in that second half, threw some different weapons at this Fordham team.
Well, let me tell you, there was some trash talking going on against us as we were leaving the field. And I'll tell you what, it incensed our kids, and our kids were fired up before we got to the locker room, and we had to calm them down in the locker room. I knew they were going to come out and battle to the bitter end, and it was just a tremendous team effort, both offense, defense, and special teams today.
Frank, I'm going to spill the beans and tell you that our players of the game, our Pepsi players of the game, include Brad Maurer and Andrew Brown. Andrew Brown really getting things established early here for Lafayette.
Well, I'll tell you, want to get those turnovers. Andrew's having a great game, maybe his best game yet. Big interception that set us up with the first score. And what can you say about Brad? That's what they call him. That's my boy out in Ohio, and that's why he's here at Lafayette.
All right, Frank Devine, congratulations on another win. 3-0 now in the Patriot League.
Well, I'll tell you what. It's nice to be sitting here, but we're not finished yet. We get a nice break now, just at the right time. We'll get the heel up. We get to work this week a little bit, give them next weekend off. I'll get a chance to go to Wofford, and we'll get this done.
You got somebody over there that you're a little interested in watching play, I understand.
Absolutely.
All right, good luck to you and your son at Wofford.
Thank you.
All right, Frank Devine, the head coach of the Lafayette Leopards, and one of our players of the game is standing by here. We already told you, Drew Brown. Man, I'll tell you what, you got Lafayette started here pretty early with some incredible stuff on defense. Take us through some of the action.
First of all, I just want to thank my father, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. It all happened like we just came out like gangbangers. I mean, our whole defense, our whole team was psyched for this. We know it was a big game for us. Potentially set us up to take over the league or whatever. But you know, we wanted this game. We wanted this game. We wanted it now. This is our time right now for this game, and we came through. I mean, I got to thank our D-line for coming through all game. Our whole defense was just shutting them down. Everybody on the whole defense.
Drew, just take us quickly through the interception, first of all, which was a big turnaround here in the momentum of the game. It ended up setting up your first touchdown, as Coach just mentioned.
Yeah, it did. It did. I was just putting in the right position, and I took advantage of it. I mean, our defensive coordinator and our whole defensive staff, they're like geniuses out there.
All right, Drew, I know you're not going to take any of this credit, but well-deserved. Congratulations on being one of our Pepsi players of the game.
Thank you. I just want to shout out Barry. Our prayers go to you and your family.
There you go. Drew Brown representing Lafayette's defense. How about the offense? Brad Maurer's back for another honor. In fact, both these guys are returners for Pepsi Player of the Game honors. Brad, we noticed that the yardage was in the negative side of 0 at the first half. Not too bad, -10. You really made up for it in the second half. Great job with one of those touchdowns in.
Oh, thanks. It certainly wasn't just me. There were a lot of great blocks being thrown. I just had to run off of them.
Fantastic numbers today. 14 carries, 135 yards, 2 touchdowns. Passing was excellent as well. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot. I mean, it was a great effort by everybody on the offense and defense. I mean, it was really a team win to come out in the second half and have the pride and the poise to come back and win that one.
Well done. Brad Maurer, sophomore quarterback for the Lafayette Leopards, our offensive Pepsi Player of the Game.